And opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of the management and staff of Guardian Radio.
Good morning. 4 people injured in a shooting overnight. $250 million for national security projects. And the Grand Bahama Chamber of Commerce says clarity is needed on the state of the Grand Lucayan. It's all straight ahead this morning. I'm Dwight Strachan, and this is Morning Blend.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. Don't you know that it's the start of the end of the old way. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Good morning again, Bahamas. It is Tuesday, July 8th, 2025. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Again, I'm Dwight Strachan. In a moment, Duquesa Dean will be joining us. Also this morning, we'll get a preview as the independence celebrations continue of the Made in the Bahamas Festival that is coming in a few days. We'll give you all the details about that. That's all ahead. But first, it's time for the overnight, the latest breaking news from while we're sleeping, and the top national and international headlines this morning. In the overnight, investigations continue into a shooting in the Mason Addition area overnight. We're told now 4 people were injured as a result of the incident. Not many more details are known. We're told the victims are in the hospital. We hope to have more for you in our 8 o'clock news update. The government has allocated over $250 million in this fiscal period for projects within the Ministry of National Security. That's according to Financial Secretary Simon Wilson. The budget includes a $90 million prison, a $100 million modernization of the Royal Bahamas Defense Force fleet, and up to $90 million for a new police administrative center and fire trucks. Wilson, addressing the Ministry of National Security's multi-agency financial accounting conclave yesterday, saying that for the Department of Corrections, they have a construction of a new prison and virtual court, which is a $90 million project. He says with the Defense Force, the modernization of the fleet, as well as the refurbishing of the fleet, the total of that could be close to $100 million. And for the police department, they have the modernization of the main campus, as the government has already announced the intention to build a new police administrative center, as well as acquire 12 fire trucks. For the National Crime Intelligence Agency, Wilson says they're moving into their new home, and that is a commitment of millions of dollars in resources. Plus, of course, you've already heard of the parliamentary department and the new parliamentary system, which they hope to deliver by next year. President of the Grand Bahama Chamber of Commerce, Dylan Knowles, says he would like more clarity on the Grand Lucayan Resort's redevelopment, but stressed that an absence of details does not necessarily mean bad news. Members of the F&M, including Party Leader Michael Pintard and former Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis, have also agitated for more information from the Davis administration on the resort's $120 million sale to Concord Wilshire, a United States-based real estate and resort developer. Knowles telling the Nassau Guardian, quote, clarity is always a good thing and transparency is always a good thing. I don't know what the lack of it means. I don't know that the lack of it means there is anything nefarious going on. It could be any number of reasons, so I'm not perturbed by it, but I would obviously like to know what's going on myself. Back in May, the government signed a heads of agreement for the sale and redevelopment of the resort. The government did not reveal the specifics of the sale during the signing ceremony. However, a day later, the Davis administration and Concord released separate statements providing the particulars of the sale. The statement said that the government agreed to sell the resort for $120 million to a Bahamian subsidiary of Concord. The purchase price covers the sale of the 56-acre beachfront resort in Freeport and the adjacent 160-acre reef golf course to Ancient Waters Bahamas Limited. "340 immigration officers climbed the ranks as the Ministry of Immigration and National Insurance hosted a promotion and confirmation ceremony. Awards and promotions were presented to officers from both New Providence and the Family Islands by the Minister of National Insurance and Immigration, Alfred Sears, immigration officials, and Permanent Secretary Alison Greenslade, and tons of supporters were there as well. Meanwhile, F&M Senator Darren Henfield calling for reform of the country's immigration system. Henfield saying in a statement the government's failure to enforce its own laws is undermining public trust and weakening national security. Henfield said the F&M is, quote, ready to restore order, integrity, and confidence in our immigration system, saying, quote, it's time we introduce a robust framework to ensure all citizenship and immigration decisions comply with legal standards subject to independent review. Prosecutors dropping a second murder case against Kobe Taylor, the move coming weeks after the 19-year-old's murder and attempted murder trial stemming from a shooting at a baby shower was withdrawn. Yesterday, Taylor's murder case concerning the August 13, 2022 murder of 57-year-old Mikkel Bain, also known as Spot Dog, ended without a trial when prosecutors presented a nolle prosequi. According to police, Bain was sitting on the front porch of his home in South Beach around 10 a.m. when he was ambushed by two gunmen who emerged from a Nissan Note. Last month, prosecutors presented a nolle prosequi after calling a single witness in the murder and attempted murder case. Police say that on August 21st, 2022, a gray car pulled up at a home on Stack Avenue in Nassau Village. Two men got out and opened fire on the guests at the shower. Jordan Avril was killed while Perry Johnson, Tyrone Smith, and Darren Roll were injured. And a New Providence resident is facing multiple charges after police seized marijuana and an arsenal of weapons and ammunition last month. 35-year-old Arsenio Ferguson of Joe Farrington Road faced charges of importation of firearms, ammunition, and marijuana in relation to the June 27th seizure. Acting on information, police intercepted a vehicle that was carrying appliances. Police found dismantled weapons, 5,216 rounds of ammunition, and 24 packages of marijuana with an estimated value of $198,400 hidden inside the appliances. Officers assembled weapons into 12 rifles, 11 pistols, and 2 revolvers. Ferguson was not required to enter pleas to the charges when he made his initial appearance before Chief Magistrate Roberto Reckley on Monday because he will be tried in the Supreme Court. The matter is expected to be fast-tracked to a higher court on December 14th, the higher court, with the presentation of a voluntary bill of indictment. Ferguson was also arraigned in connection with the June 29th discovery of a firearm and ammunition inside the home he shares with his girlfriend. Police allegedly found a pistol, 41 rounds of ammunition, and a magazine and a back auto sear. Ferguson denied charges of possession of an unlicensed firearm, possession of ammunition with intent to supply, and possession of a firearm component. He was refused bail, and his trial is set for September 29th. His girlfriend was also denied the charges last week and has been freed on $15,000 bail. Overseas, the death toll from the catastrophic flooding in Texas over the July 4th weekend surpassed 100 on Monday as search and rescue teams continued to wade into swollen rivers and use heavy equipment to untangle trees as part of the massive search for missing people. Authorities overseeing the search for flood victims say they will wait to address questions about weather warnings and why some summer camps did not evacuate ahead of the flooding that killed at least 104. Officials spoke only hours after the operators of Camp Mystic, a century-old all-girls Christian summer camp in Texas Hill Country, announced that they had lost 27 campers and counselors to the floodwaters. Kerr County officials say 10 campers and 1 counselor have still not been found. Searchers have found the bodies of 84 people, including 28 children, in the county home to Camp Mystic and several other summer camps. With additional rain on the way, more flooding still threatens saturated parts of central Texas. Authorities say the death toll was sure to rise. Five Israeli soldiers were killed in an attack in Gaza, according to the Israeli military today, while health officials in the Palestinian territory say 18 people were killed in Israeli strikes. The bloodshed coming as Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu was visiting the White House for talks about a ceasefire plan to pause the Gaza fighting. While there was no announcement of a breakthrough, there were signs of progress towards a deal. The killing of the soldiers could add to the pressure on Netanyahu to strike a deal in Israel, where polls have shown widespread support for ending the war. Meanwhile, Yemen's Houthi rebels continued an hours-long attack today, targeting a Liberian-flagged cargo ship in the Red Sea, after the group claimed to have sunk another vessel in an assault that threatens to renew combat across the vital waterway. The Greek-owned Eternity Sea remains surrounded by small craft and is under continuous attack. That's according to the United Kingdom Maritime Trade Operations Center. At least 2 people on board the ship were reported to be hurt and 2 others missing. The bulk carrier had been heading north toward the Suez Canal when it came under fire by men in small boats and by bomb-carrying drones Monday night. The security guards on board also fired their weapons. The European Union's anti-piracy patrol operation Atalanta and the private security firm Ambry both reported those details. And Haiti's once illustrious Grand Hotel Olofsson, a beloved Gothic gingerbread home that inspired books, hosted parties, and visitors from Mick Jagger to Haitian presidents, burned down by gangs over the weekend. Hundreds of Haitians and foreigners mourned the news as it spread across social media, with the hotel manager Monday confirming the fire on X, formerly Twitter. Even though gang violence had forced the hotel in Haiti's capital, Port-au-Prince, to close in recent years, many had hoped it would remain open or would reopen at some point. Longtime hotel manager Richard Morris, who had been overseeing the property remotely from the United States since the hotel's closure in 2022, told the Associated Press that for several hours there were persistent rumors that the hotel had burned. The attack on the community where the hotel was located began late Saturday. Observers telling the Associated Press that flames, and they could see the flames, and that residents were chased out while police and gangs exchanged heavy gunfire. Journalists are currently unable to visit the site and verify the damage of the hotel because gangs control the area, which remains inaccessible. The director of the Institute for Safeguarding National Heritage also confirmed the fire to the Associated Press. It's time for sports, brought to you by Kalik. Despite missing a month of the season, Bahamian professional baseball player Jazz Ratto, Jazz Chisholm Jr. is back in the Midsummer Classic. Chisholm is having one of the best seasons in Major League Baseball so far, and it's certainly coming off arguably the best month statistically of his career. Through 59 games, the Bahamian star had 50 home runs, 38 RBIs, and 34 runs scored with an impressive all-around performance. You can read more about that in the Guardian Sports section today. He's top three almost across the board statistically for the New York Yankees and was one of 3 Yankees to be named to the 2025 All-Star Game for the American League. Game is set for July 15th in Atlanta, Georgia. And the top volleyball teams from around the Caribbean will be in town next month as the Bahamas host the Caribbean Zonal Volleyball Association Senior Championships, CAZOVA. The regional tournament will feature teams from Trinidad and Tobago, Jamaica, Barbados, Aruba, Guadeloupe, Curacao, and the U.S. Virgin Islands, along with the host nation Bahamas. President of the Bahamas Volleyball Federation, Kurtwood Green, says around 300 players and coaches will be here for the competition, which will take place August 14th through 23rd at the Kendall Isaacs Gym. Officials making the announcement as the world marks International Volleyball Day, and this will be the first time the Bahamas will host the regional tournament since 2006. From the NBA, the New York Knicks liked Mike Brown's experience with championship teams after he worked for 4 of them. That sounds good to a franchise that's been stuck on 2 titles for more than 50 years, but believes it's time to win another now. The Knicks hired Brown on Monday, turning the 2-time NBA Coach of the Year after firing Tom Thibodeau. The Knicks offered the top job to Brown last week and announced Monday he would be taking over the team that reached the Eastern Conference Finals last season for the first time in 25 years. Team terms of the deal have not been disclosed as yet. They decided to fire Thibodeau despite that playoff success and eventually picked Brown, who wasn't out of work long after getting fired from the Sacramento Kings during last season. Brown led the Kings to a 48-34 record and the postseason in 2022-23, their first appearance since 2006, and was voted Coach of the Year. He also won the award in Cleveland, where he led the Cavaliers to the 2007 NBA Finals. That's sports, and that's the Overnight Sports, brought to you by Kalik. Pop the Top is back, and it's bigger than ever. Kalik, the beer of the Bahamas, giving away up to $200,000 in cash and prizes. Purchase your favorite Kalik beer and look under the cap. You could be a winner. Free Kalik beer, Kalik merch, or cold hard cash could be yours just for drinking Kalik. Kalik reminds you to drink responsibly. And it's time for your first look at weather, brought to you by the Encore of Love on a Two-Way Street. Here's what's happening. Multi-layered troughing will produce cloudiness, showers, and isolated thunderstorms as it moves across the central and northwest Bahamas today and then into the northern Bahamas by tomorrow. High pressure building across the country on Thursday through the weekend, expected to produce high temperatures and fresh to moderate breezes. However, streaming tropical moisture will elevate the chance for showers and isolated thunderstorms. For today, though, we are again looking at high UV and heat indices. Everyone's being advised to remain hydrated, wear loose-fitting clothing and sunscreen while outdoors, take frequent breaks during peak sunshine hours, as UV indices are expected to be in the high to very high range, and heat indices will again reach the lower triple digits. There remains a moderate risk for rip currents on Atlantic exposed coastal waters, as well as east and south coast beaches in the central and south Bahamas. Beachgoers urged to exercise caution. And there's a high potential for flooding in low-lying and flood-prone areas in the central and northwest Bahamas today, as that trough migrates northwestwards through the islands during heavy rainfall events. So for today, your forecast for the extreme northern islands, a mix of sun and clouds, gradually becoming partly cloudy by the afternoon and into tonight. A 10 to 20% chance of isolated showers or isolated thunderstorms in the afternoon. For the northwest and central Bahamas, though, this is where the weather's going to be. We've got partly cloudy to cloudy conditions for the northwest islands and cloudy to overcast for the central Bahamas. A 30 to 40% chance of showers and isolated thunderstorms in the northwestern islands. Winds northeast to east at 10 to 15 knots, shifting east to southeast tonight. But a 40 to 60% chance of scattered showers and widely scattered thunderstorms for the central islands, with winds east to southeast at 10 to 15 knots, increasing to 15 to 20 knots tonight. For the southeastern islands, partly cloudy today, 20 to 40% chance of isolated showers and thunderstorms, winds east to southeast at 15 to 25 knots. It's going to be another hot day. We're looking at highs around 90, 91 Fahrenheit, 33 Celsius, but the heat index will make it feel like it's 104 Fahrenheit, 40 Celsius, except in the central Bahamas where it's going to be raining so much. That won't be a factor. Overnight lows tonight getting down to about 80, 81 Fahrenheit, about 26, 27 Celsius. That's your first look at weather this morning. We'll have your extended outlook and a look at the tropics coming up in just a bit. This weather check brought to you by Love on a Two-Way Street. It's back for one final encore, Friday, July 11th. At 8 p.m. at St. John's College Auditorium, Stapleton Gardens, for the emotional roller coaster that stole the hearts of audiences across Nassau. Tickets are $50. Box offices are Doc's Pharmacy and 17 Shop, or give them a call to reserve your tickets at 802-0602. Love on a Two-Way Street, one street, two hearts, a lifetime of choices.
Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new
It is time for a break, but when we come back, we're discussing the day's top stories right here on Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9, your home for fresh news and smart talk all day.
It's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Tired of banks forcing you to use technology to bank the way they want you to? Your convenience is important. So no matter what your banking needs, Commonwealth Bank's friendly staff are always available in branch for that personal one-on-one service. But when you choose technology, our online and mobile banking app offers you state-of-the-art functionality. The choice is yours. Commonwealth Bank. Bank the way you want.
Get ready to catch the thrill and win with Shell. Fuel up with $20 or more and unlock your shot at unforgettable prizes.
We're talking regatta trips to Exuma and Harbor Island.
Free fuel, grocery vouchers, water park passes, and more. Just snap your receipt and WhatsApp it to us at 242-422-0271. The vibes are high, the prizes are hot, and the summer is yours to win with Shell. Only at participating Shell stations in Nassau. Now through August 22nd. Terms and conditions apply.
Southwest Plaza has so many stores, I've been trying to find a sensible way to list them all. There's CBS Bahamas, the Ashai Institute, BENC Snack World, Bamboo Shack Bahamas, there, the Athlete's Foot and BTC, Games and More, John Bull Fine Threads, Alive Bahari, Dairy Queen, 700 Wines and Spirits, Sandy's Clocks and Island Luck, Starbucks and Lowe's Pharmacy, plus Marco's Pizza and Lorraine. Southwest Plaza, what a wider plaza. Stop by today and explore.
Looking to elevate your gadget game or a tech trouble simply slowing you down? Escape to a world of innovation at Custom Computers, your go-to store for the latest cutting-edge tech. Whether you need to upgrade your life with the best from Apple and Windows or your device needs a little TLC, the Custom Computers Know-How Store is the destination for unbeatable expertise and quality repairs. With 2 convenient locations, there's a Custom Computers near you on Patton Street in Palmdale and Caves Village, or call 396-1100.
Abaco, get ready for the summer's official rum and beer lingo. Royalty Sounds present Found Fast. Found Fast. Saturday, July 5th, Morris Harbor, Abaco at the Royal Recreational Ground. Gates open 5 p.m., $20 entry. Ladies free before 8 p.m. with Nassau and Abaco's hottest DJ. Don't miss the beer drinkers versus rum drinkers competition.
Right, pulling for the best side, icicle liquor.
Damn rum for me. Found Fast, July 5th, Abaco. Sponsored by Collect, the Beer of the Bahamas. Drink responsibly.
With RBC, your idea of loving every journey happens now. Free up cash with affordable auto financing from RBC. With competitive rates and no bank fees, it's the perfect time to make every journey something special. Apply now to pre-qualify in 60 seconds at rbc.com/auto loan to shop with confidence. Conditions apply. RBC, your idea of loving your journey happens here.
When can I open my eyes?
Not yet. Okay, open. Do you see what I see?
It just looks like land to me.
It's our land, son. A wise investment that will grow with you.
Invest in land with CIBC Caribbean and we'll give you US $250 towards your valuation cost and 50% off your loan application fee. With CIBC Caribbean Land Financing, you can choose to build, hold, or pass on to your children. Visit CIBCCaribbean.com to learn more. Conditions apply.
Wendy's and Coca-Cola is giving away up to $25,000 of hot cash this summer. To enter, upgrade any premium combo from 1 through 12 to a medium or a large for your chance to win the grand prize of $10,000. Don't miss your chance to win big this summer. Visit your neighborhood Wendy's, upgrade your favorite lunch combos, and win hot cash. Rules and restrictions apply.
In the world of business, technology is not a choice, it's a necessity. And for businesses that demand excellence, there's only one choice for unparalleled support and cutting-edge technology. Custom Computers. You have challenges and we have solutions. Computing, networking, storage, and printing for enterprises large and small, aligned with premium brands like HP, Microsoft, Konica Minolta, and more. Get tech done the right way with Custom Computers. Call the Know-How team at 396-1101.
Shell, you home? My gas just gone out. Let me know small barbecue tank you have. I tell you, long time, go get a barbecue tank from Caribbean Gas. They just got a new shipment of tanks of all sizes. Now you know they always have the best prices. Tell them you heard it on 106.5 FM and they will give you $5 off. Caribbean Gas, 361-6007 or 5527. You want to use my phone? Here, call them now.
Maybe it's time to explore your options. There's no harm in reviewing your mortgage arrangement and considering a better deal. CIBC Caribbean can help you narrow your search and decide. Switch your mortgage to CIBC Caribbean and enjoy a special interest rate and help towards your switching cost. Visit CIBCFCIB.com/inspired home for more information. Conditions apply.
CIBC, ambitions made real. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. Don't you know that it's the start of the end of the old way. Wake up, it's a new day. 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 Wake up, wake up.
Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. We are streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com and on the Guardian Radio app for smart devices. We're also on your televisions on Cable Bahamas Channel 969 and BTC Flow Channel 612. You can tweet us at Morning Blend 969 or Facebook.com/Morning Blend 969. Text us on the Guardian Radio text line powered by BTC 422-4796. Standard text rate supply. Once again, I'm Dwight Strachan. Joining me now, Duquesa Dean. Duquesa Dean.
Good morning.
Happy Independence Eve.
Thank you. The studio looks beautiful. I see straw work and all of the colors, the correct colors of the flag. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Looks really nice.
And we've got this mountain
nice balloons. I love
here.
it. Yes.
I can barely see you over there, but
yeah.
Hey, it's very, very festive. Very festive.
Good morning out there and happy Tuesday to you all.
Yeah. Hey, same here. Same here. We are in the festive independence celebration mood, and we're going to tell you about an event that's coming up just a few days after Independence, the Made in the Bahamas Festival at Nassau Cruise Port. We're going to get details about that this morning. That's all ahead. But there is quite a bit to talk about right now in the news. And in the news, investigations continue, and we're hoping to find out more about exactly what happened with a shooting overnight that has left 4 people injured. They we're told are in the hospital after this shooting. It happened in the Masons Addition area, and not many details know, but I'm not sure what was happening at the time. But 4 people were shot. And again, we're hoping that by 8 o'clock we'll have a clearer picture of what's going on. But
this is getting so popular.
That's an interesting word to use.
Not like it's the right word, but it's increasing and it's alarming.
Right, it seems that for so many people, unless there's a death involved, these mass shootings, which they are, barely get any attention from people. Yeah. Like, anybody dead? No. Oh, okay. Well, whatever. 4 or 5 people shot.
Yeah.
Like, oh.
I don't know. Do you think it's an immunity that we've built up to it, or?
Some of us, clearly. Again, like I said, if no one's dead, they definitely care much less. But it's unbelievable. And it's been happening for a while, and it doesn't look like it's abating in any way. I don't know. I don't know what to say.
I don't know either, honestly. Like, people run hot so quickly, emotions take over. Emotions trump logic. It should be the reverse, and I don't know. I wonder if it's like, some of the movies that we watch or the games that we play, or if it has any influence. I know it doesn't impact everyone the same way because, maybe we can play games and it doesn't impact us, but someone may bring that over into real life, or I don't know, social skills aren't being as developed. As a matter of fact, I was talking to someone last week and we were talking about the fact that when we were younger, we used to go outside and play. We used to play like hopscotch or climb trees, do all sorts of things outside. And we got to interact with the neighborhood children, and that helped with social development. But today, our kids...
Well, it's still happening. But,
on a less degree, I believe.
It's not much playing. It's like gang activity.
Right. And then, other kids are being kept inside, use your tablet or watch TV or not. That sense of social development within children in the community is diminished a bit. So I think we need to get back to socialization, and helping kids to build those conflict resolution skills too. Because if you have an argument outside playing jacks, you learn how to, come through that. You be mad for a day and then it's over. But what's happening today in terms of helping children to develop those sorts of skills? So
I had an interesting experience yesterday. I'm not going to say too much because I have to go back there today. But once it's done.
Okay.
But along the lines of what you're saying, one of the youngest people there waiting to get served was clearly the hothead.
Right.
And everybody else, either quietly waiting or talking amongst themselves, making new friends.
Mm-hmm.
But something is up with some of our younger people. I don't think many of us were like that when we were young.
Yeah.
I'm sure there were some people, but this was uncalled for and ridiculous behavior.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell you that everywhere I go now, this is why you really have to do everything online so you can avoid. Whenever I go to a place with people, there's always somebody that puts on a show.
Dwight, I'm going to also be the devil's advocate here and say that some of these organizations need to do a better job of having you sit and wait or stand on a line and wait.
Like I said,
it's ridiculous. Right, I know, right?
But we'll get to that.
I am always annoyed.
Get to that.
If I have to go in person somewhere,
there's
get to
no
it.
reason.
It's none.
For what? Anyway.
Again. So okay. So we can't talk about it too much.
Cause me to be the one to put on a show today. But anyway, unbelievable, and it's.
Did it seem
so
uncontrolled
sad.
Or?
Well, they seem kind of agitated from the beginning.
Okay, from the arrival.
But we were waiting a long.
That's crazy.
Time.
Yeah.
Long.
No, that's crazy.
And it was a chaotic scene. It's like it's not organized properly, and everybody who was there longer had to tell the new people what's happening because they're like, "What's going on? Where am I to go?" And like nobody knows.
Okay.
So that doesn't, in an environment like that, you will have potential chaos.
Hotheads.
Yeah, but definitely some of our younger folks seem to be a little more easily pushed over the edge.
Yeah.
And again, that's not new. I think we've seen that. You've seen that for going back, but the number of people,
it's getting worse.
It's more of them,
right?
It's more of a norm than the minority,
right?
And that's disturbing.
That is what's disturbing.
My theory is they watch a lot of these idiotic reality shows, and every week somebody loses it, and it makes a big scene.
Yeah.
It's the promo and all the ads for it, and like coming up, right? And it's that part of it. And so people are like, this is the way to carry on.
Right.
Some people think.
Or it could be what they see, what they
at
witness.
Home.
Yeah,
at
it
home
could be
too.
like,
Well, at home, on TV, in the movies, everybody act, this is what you do.
This is right. So they feel that this is the normal, And, I reluctantly say this, just with the increase of shootings in groups, like you say, mass, it makes me worried about a year or two in advance because, whatever happens when we sneeze and breathe eventually comes here. And we don't need mass shootings. We don't need those sorts of situations. And so something has to be done for conflict resolution. Something. There's a level of I don't care-ness that really, really exists. And it's like the human life. It has no value or has little value to the people who are okay snuffing a light out.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's scary.
It is scary. Let's talk about it, folks. This is not what you want to be talking about as we're so close to Independence Day. But it doesn't matter anymore. It seems holidays, weekends, early morning, late at night, these things are happening in our tiny country. And some of us just like, oh, well, again, and then move on.
Yeah.
And we never wanted, I was hoping we never got to that point, but here we certainly are, and we've been here for a while. And people will say, well, that's just them. Keep them away from me.
Right.
Until. All right, so let's talk. 323-6232. 325-4316. 325-4259. Call us toll free, 242-300-5720. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796. Got some text messages coming in. We'll get to those in a bit, but let's take these calls. Good morning, caller. You are live on the air. Hi, good morning. Are you there? You're very impatient. Wow, how did you hang up? Good morning, caller. You're live.
Good morning.
Hi.
Good morning.
Good morning. I think what's happening is in a society where it seems that men are disposable, or it appears that men are disposable, society don't give men that safe space to vent or to talk. Every time you hear a talk show, every time you hear something, it seems like the man is the problem. And you have a lot of young boys growing up where hearing this, even on the international news, it seems like men are disposable, not valuable, expendable. And so now you have a lot of young boys growing up hating everything because they feel like, hey, if society feel like I'm always the problem and the woman is the one to be coddled and to be looked after, and I'm as a man or a young boy, I'm just here to work and provide and that's it. And if I feel horrible, I don't really matter. I think that's maybe the problem. Because I think, the pendulum has swung too far to the other side, where one time women were the endangered, gender. And I think what happened was society went too far in trying to correct that and left men behind, young boys and men behind. And now you have persons who cannot, they have bad conflict resolution and just die left, right, and center. And even if you listen to the news, it's almost like, there we go again. It's like almost like, now, you only hear something when women and young girls, it appears to be. That's when you hear uproar like, oh, we got to do something now.
So who's doing this? Who created this scenario, this system?
Just I don't know if you listen to international, just listen to what's going on. It's like, it's almost like men are no longer valuable.
What?
No, I just want to see. That's how it appears. That's what I get from what's going on.
Okay.
Okay, all right, I hear you. I don't think that's changed from the beginning of time. It's the men who go to war. It's the men who start the wars. It's the men who are on the battlefield and challenging people to duels and
but on
you meet me outside, that type of thing. You're bound to get yourself hurt or worse, right? So it's been like that. So I don't think it's something new, and nobody made it so other than men.
So Dwight, on the flip side of that, like listening to what he is saying, there are a couple of things that came to my mind with the caller. One is that who is it that is responsible for teaching boys to be men, right? Is it the women or is it the men? Like men. There are a lot of very active men in society, men in their families. And it's often been said that a woman can't really teach a boy how to be a man. And so with the absence of the male in the family, you have a lot of single women bringing kids up, bringing boys up. You have a lot of resentment that could come through that as well. And so, we've broken off from a particular pattern of how we raise children. Like, we're the mentors for the boys. You have the boys' clubs. Our boys going to those clubs. Our men standing up and saying, hey, let's create a space where we can bring boys in. Like we see some of that, but definitely we do need more of that. And it shouldn't be the women's responsibility to foster that. I think men have a very valuable role in society, in the family, in like rearing their kids and bringing their kids up. And so when that is absent, that creates a huge issue.
I think that is happening. I think that's happening a lot. But the problem is the mixed messaging. Because while that is going on, you have the music, the movies, the TV shows telling you can't be a punk and let that man or that woman talk to you like that. You got to go and deal with this. Go and deal with this. So you challenge them to a fight. You lose the fight. You can't go out like that. You got to go and take it up another notch.
Crazy.
And then next thing you know, somebody's dead.
And is that really being a man?
Well,
for them, but I mean,
that's what a lot of people are being told. Like, you let that person do that to you. What type of man are you?
Right.
Women are telling you that. Men are telling you that. Everywhere, that is the pressure that young boys are under. And so the conflicting messages is leading. It has been from the beginning of time to now. Nothing has changed. Nothing has changed. You thought that with all the technology and all the history we know that you would be like, hey, this never ended well for the people in the Wild West. Yeah. Why should we be doing this now in 2025?
I don't think we process it.
Okay.
I don't think we process it. Even though history is said to be the biggest predictor of the future, I don't know that we look enough at.
We think we're better than those people, and we can do it better. But yeah, it's we've brought this on ourselves, and we are no better than some of the animals in the jungle. It seems some are trying to be, but others are very connected and carry on the way the others do. Caller, what say you though? Good morning. You're on the air. Hi. Good morning. Are you there?
Yes. Good morning. I'm here. How y'all doing?
Doing well.
How are you?
I had occasion to phone into one of your weekend shows. Dwight, you have you've been thoughtful in that.
With the weekend shows?
Your lineup, yeah.
Thank you very much.
Excellent boy. I called into a show.
I heard you, by the way.
Yeah, well, I need to bring home the point that child neglect is the number one crime, the one to be considered as a major crime in the Bahamas. Simply because when you look at it, we all need love, nutrition, exercise, and sleep. But this thing about sleep, and I mentioned to you about sleep therapy, brain therapy before, because during REM sleep, we get to process the emotional experiences we had throughout the day, and our brain helps to sort that out and put us, in an emotional regulation state. None of us hardly appreciate the power of deep REM sleep. That's important for us to process what happened the previous day. It may come in all kinds of forms. Think about that, right? So we're all responsible for keeping our kids up, letting them be up roaming all night when they should be enjoying REM sleep.
Oh, man.
All right?
Yeah, indeed. Thank you so much. And most people don't seem to notice this. Like, I was at an event over the weekend, and it was getting late, 11 o'clock, almost 12. And the kids, I know it's the school's closed. It's the summer. But still. And I remember the independence celebrations well past midnight. Kids all over. Like, is this good?
I don't know. I know back in the day, that was like, there were a few events that children could, like we as kids could look forward to going to. The tattoo was one of them. It was like one of those rare occasions where you get to be up late or whatever, but we were not allowed to have that constantly. Like at a certain time, you had to be quiet, you had to be down, but that sleep is so important. Isn't that a punishment method though? Like when you're not allowed to sleep, you're like, you go crazy
Sleep
or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So,
oh boy, that's interesting. Going with what the caller is saying, right? So maybe on one time you get to stay up late,
occasionally, but it shouldn't be consistent.
Yeah, could that be what's going on? I'm sure that's part of the problem. Part of the problem. Caller would say you. Good morning.
Yes. Good morning, Dwight. Good morning, the Quest.
Good morning.
Free Independence Day to you.
Same to you.
Dwight, I want to start with this quote that I heard years ago. It says that people will value what they respect, and they will respect what they value. Obviously, there's very little respect for life because they don't value it. I always say that, somebody who murdered somebody, right, not manslaughter, but they murders them, right? They go to court, they get, 25, 50 years, or whatever years. And what you're telling people, that is the cost of that person's life. That is the value that what the court has placed upon the life. Until we say a life is priced and compensate for that, it's another life, this will never change. I want to refer Dwight to in your booklet that was published on the 40th year of our anniversary. There's an article there written by Crystal Rowe, Battling Social Decay. And then she lists it says that the decaying social fabric of the country has spawned an explosive rise in violent crime over the last several years. Wow. Experts have observed it. She go on to list several things. Dr. David Allen talked about the family, the breakdown in the family. And then Warren McCartney writes, and that's in your same booklet, it says, after 40 years, our nation is under siege. And now it's 52 years, and nothing has changed.
Wow.
It's getting worse.
Yeah.
Where do we go from here?
And that could have been written for the 30th as well, right? We've been dealing with these issues for a long time.
I don't think we were that bad at the 30th.
Oh, yeah?
No,
okay.
No, we weren't. We did not have this high escalation of murders and mass shootings and those things.
The patterns were emerging. You could see that it was coming.
It was, but I mean, we are allowing this thing to get out of hand. The government seems to be, just like they are like they don't know what to do. The Minister of National Security, like he just throw up his hand and say, you know what, y'all criminals, y'all do whatever you want to do. The immigrants, they coming in by the bucket full. Nobody, this country, it has no order, Dwight. We go to Parliament, they pass laws. The laws are not enforced. I mean, what kind of country are we using? I mean, are we having? If you have a disciplined government, you'll have a disciplined people. Okay, if the government is disciplined and they carry out the law, they obey the law, the citizens would follow. All right, but we see that our politicians, our government, everybody on the street. You go on the streets, people don't obey the law. They don't do this. Dwight, we need law and order in this country. We need a government. I know you don't believe in probably dictatorship or whatever it is, but this democracy thing, where people
are you serious?
Be doing everything what is right in their own eyes, like how the Bible said that there was no judges in the land at that time, and people were doing everything what was right in their own. That's how it seems like we're living
There are
today.
tons of examples of working democracies. We don't have to go down that road.
Examples and reality too.
No, I mean, as in realities, they exist. They exist.
We don't need to look at other people. We need to look at ourselves and say, listen, we're not going to stand for this. Our courts need to enforce all of the laws. You go to court and people just getting a slap on the wrist for this, a slap on the wrist for that. What message are you sending to your society? You know the reason why they hang people publicly? So people can see, listen, you break the law is going to break you, all right? And that is why we have the type of society. These things don't happen in Cuba and them Islamic country where they chop your hand off. You may say it's barbaric or whatever, and they do whatever they need to do to set an example. But we send them to prison in the hotel with air conditioning. We want to give them this and prison is jail. Jail's supposed to be hard, okay? You're not supposed to soften it. That's why we having this type of society, man. Anyhow, only thing I could do is pray and pray that God protect my family and I and everybody. That's all we can do.
I hear
Even
you.
prayers in itself, prayers without action.
Well,
we
all right.
the government.
Those other countries you mentioned,
Thank
they
you.
can't talk like this on the radio either. So
Right.
so think about that
we
carefully.
need enforcement of the law.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't know necessarily that we
There are
need
plenty countries that are
dictatorships,
full
but we
democracies that do not
we
have
need
what we're having right
enforcement
now.
of the law.
You can look at Japan. You can look at Scandinavian countries. This is not normal what's going on in this region. We got a
Right.
problem in this whole region. Plenty theories as to what that's all about. Some will say it's the effects of slavery, and some of you just rolled your eyes at hearing that, but that's probably a big part of it. But we've got a lot of issues that we need to deal with before we start talking nonsense about dictatorships. Come on. Wow. Okay. Let's take a few more calls. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Are you there? Hi, good morning. Yep, call us back. 323-6232. 325-4316. 325-4259. Good morning.
Yes.
Hi.
Good morning to you and your guest, and by extension, Dwight of Bahamas.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that what is one of the things, major, I think, is lacking is, yes, accountability. And I keep repeating this, Dwight and your guest. When we have leaders, and by extension, our caretakers of the laws, just overlooking the small infraction.
Yeah.
Remember, everything that is big was once small. And so when you fail to address the small issues and they grow into this monster that it's now, and now it's consuming us. So, yes, the citizens has a role to play, but they are paid. And they're failing, they have failed, the successive leaders have failed us, and current leaders is continuing to fail us. And I want to say this right. Our current minister of, or the lady anyway, Minister Monroe, before he was there, he had all the answers, all. It's something about when you go in that box, it's like you have amnesia and everything's right. They forget everything. They just form and just drink the Kool-Aid, and that's that. And in closing, what you were saying about the family, in the absence of men, yes, you have some women raise productive kids on their own and boys, but that's the few. If you look at the majority, you have most single homes with women raising children. They deviate because remember now, women are nurturers, caretakers. When daddy say, you ain't riding a bike no more for the week, that's it, you ain't riding it. And if you come back and you ask him, listen, I will take the bike and give it to your cousin. You go to mommy and mommy hard and touch hard. Okay then, okay. But next time, I'm not going to let you ride it. And their car was designed to drive with 3 wheels. 4 wheels. If you go there with 3 wheels, right, you might get the car to move, but it's not going to function properly. And so when you take the man out of the home, that's a dysfunctional family to a larger extent, more or less. Okay? Thank you for taking my call.
Okay. Yes, you're right. But who's taking them out? Who's taking them out? What's that about? Right? If you have, what's the issue? What? You hate her? You hate her so much you can't be in the home? Or you have too many kids for different people, and so which home are you going to be in? Is that what it is? Who's making you not be in the home? So that's
what is
it? Yeah. So again, who are you blaming for that one? But we agree with you. Caller, what say you?
Hey, good morning, Dwight.
Hi.
And good morning, Duchess.
Good morning.
Yes, Dwight, like the gentleman said, we in the world, we can say when it relates to family, especially amongst the blacks, because when you really do the research, right, you will find that most black nations and people facing this. Now you have some white countries, but it ain't really much of them would still don't believe that a man's supposed to be in charge of their homes and run their homes, right? Or in a positive and decent way, not in an abusive and unforeseen way, right? But in a positive and productive way. Only the white nation still holding on to those type of ordeals.
We got to get you either a different phone or a different carrier. Something's going on with your phone every time. I don't know what that's about.
Yeah, sorry about that, Dwight.
Mm-hmm.
You can hear me better?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
sorry, but like I was saying, right? Men are have an important role inside the family, but I believe this is something being put on all black people all over, because look at the effect of every black nation or every black people wherever they are. Those same type of mental attitude exists. But now let's go to the
I don't know if that's
nation,
true in
right?
Africa. I'm not too sure if in most of Africa they're seeing this.
No, but most black nations. Well, I mean, not all, but that's why
I think it's
said,
a Caribbean thing. I think it's
You think it's only
African
Caribbean?
American thing and Caribbean because
It's a Western world thing.
A Western
Right,
world
Western
thing.
world.
Because what's the difference? Slavery. Slavery. And what that did, and the people say these things get into your DNA, and this thing about I'm property and I'm going to be moved, so I won't plant a, and
Right.
and that's a serious thing.
But it's a control mechanism too, Dwight, because why, right? Let's look, again, right on this. It's a control mechanism because once you cut off the head, like the old people used to say, right? Right, in this country moving forward, right? We have to try to find ways to and teach our next generation about the importance of a nucleus family, right? Because why? While we have some women who are capable, right, and instructing their kids to do things correctly, no woman could give a man instructions to be a man, and that's the problem with you see. But a man could give a woman instruction, right, as a father, his daughters. He could give them instruction on how
So-
they need to correct and be themselves.
You all really believe that most of the women in this country have decided that I just want to have
No,
some
they
kids
haven't
and not
decided.
have a man
No,
around me?
they haven't
You all
decided.
think that's how it is?
No.
I don't believe that.
Okay.
I don't believe that.
So why do we
But I
keep saying
believe, right? I believe the atmosphere encourages that. So right, the system it encourages that. I don't believe that, but when you have an environment which encourages that, then when the lady goes out there, she's encouraged by the environment to continue that going on. But what if we had an environment which didn't encourage that type of lifestyle, right? And that just you guys have nice.
Oh man, see, I need you to call back because we need to explore that more. How is the environment encouraging
I
this?
don't know. I don't know. I mean, even I am a proponent of, let me be very clear, the nuclear family. I am in 100% in support of that when it's healthy and productive and working, because we do know that there are some of them that. With that being said, though, Dwight,
is not?
right?
Who is not? Are there
With
people who
that,
are not?
I don't know, but there are some. Yes, I think that there are some
What?
people who feel that they don't need a man. I think that
That
there
doesn't
are,
mean they don't support. That they might
however-
personally feel that for them it's not going to work.
Right. However, if a man plants a seed and the seed is nurtured and that seed you end up with a child, you don't have to be with the woman to support and take care of your child and be a man and parent that child. Now, yes, I know some women are contentious, and when you break up, it'll be all these other issues. Those women need to grow up and mature and recognize that that child needs both parents, and the adults deal with whatever their situations are, okay?
And some of the men are demonic.
Right,
and
right,
cannot
right.
Be, no one can live
Agreed.
with them.
So we
Uh-huh.
do need to see where there can be some sort of situation or conflict resolution or agreements that the children are allowed to have participation with agreements with both parents. Situations where women would say, oh, when they go to the daddy, they come back worse. I heard daddy say, well, when they go to the mommy brainwashing them, blah, blah, blah. All of that is a problem and a strain on the little children who grow up to be adults that have all of this trauma, because you're trying to pacify this one, you're trying to pacify that one. And so we need adults who are engaging in the activities that result in children to be mature.
Yeah.
And to understand the relationship may not last, but you have forever children. Your children aren't just for the duration of the relationship. These children are with you until you die. So there has to be a mature effort to say, how do we parent this child for the benefit of the child and not whatever our drama is. Oh yeah, he scheme. Oh yeah, she scheme. Whatever. Yes, but what that have to do with the child?
All right, let's see if we can squeeze this call in before you have to go to the news. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Are you there? Good morning. Hi, caller. Good morning. You're live on the air. Live. And here we go. Good morning. You're on the air.
Hey, this is good morning, y'all. Poppy, how y'all doing?
Man, you guys just saying we're Poppy.
We're holding on happy Independence Day, everybody, man.
Same to you. Same to you.
Feelings and a celebrating mood like that, but still a lot to give thanks for. If we worry about us humans, how we deal with one another and leadership and all that stuff, then we wouldn't feel like that. But we get a lot to be grateful for and to thank God for. This is a good topic. I don't know, after the news or another time.
Yeah, we're going to continue it. Mm-hmm. We're going to continue after the news.
Yeah, because listen, everybody have a solid point. Although you disagreed with some of the things you hear, what she was saying just now was loaded, was solid. Especially the part where you don't watch nothing but when the children go by the mother or go by the daddy. Don't put the strain on the children. I don't know if you have sometimes I say people must have the experience things to learn, because experience is the best teacher, but you could learn from what other people experience and put yourself in the position. As fathers, we want the respect, we need the respect. Yes, the mothers them don't intend to maybe raise them children themselves. That was in the plan. Some way down the line, either someone forget we didn't make these children ourselves. It's a partnership. We own these children together. We have the responsibility together. I wish us fathers them could reach to the stage that we ignore all the foolishness what's going on. And remember, the bottom line is to spend time. Life is so short, man. Life is so short, man. Spend time with your children. Protect your children. Ain't nothing like a real daddy, but some good stepfathers out there too, who ain't trying to molest nobody or whatever. And love your children just like if they was their own children. Yes, we have daddies.
Papa, I want you to call back after the show. You're making some great points. Call back after the news so we can continue this. Great contribution so far. We'll pick this up on the other side. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9.
1492, Columbus landed.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. We are streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com and on the Guardian Radio app for smart devices. Also on your televisions on Cable Bahamas Channel 969 and BTC Flow Channel 612. You can tweet us at Morning Blend 969 or Facebook.com/Morning Blend 969. Text us 422-4796. Standard text rate supply. And now at 8:26, time for another check of your weather for today, brought to you by Star General Insurance, made simple. We've got multi-layered troughing that's going to produce cloudiness, showers, storms as it moves across the central and northwest Bahamas today, and then onto the northern Bahamas by Wednesday. So high pressure is building across the country, especially by Thursday through the weekend. That's expected to bring high temperatures and produce freshness over the islands. However, streaming tropical moisture will elevate the chance for showers and isolated thunderstorms. Today, we're looking at another day with high UV and heat indices. Everyone's being advised to take frequent breaks, wear loose-fitting clothing, remain hydrated, and use sunscreen. And UV indices are expected to be in the very high range, and heat indices in the lower triple digits. Rip currents also a risk along Atlantic exposed coastal waters, as well as east and south coast beaches in the central and southeast Bahamas. And there is a high potential for flooding in low-lying and flood-prone areas in the central and northwest Bahamas today as that trough moves through the area. So for today, for the northern islands, look for a mix of sun and clouds, gradually becoming partly cloudy by the afternoon into tonight. For the southeastern islands, partly cloudy to cloudy. But it's the central and northwest Bahamas are going to be seeing action today. Partly cloudy to overcast, a 30 to 40% chance of showers and isolated thunderstorms for the northwestern islands, including New Providence, and a 40 to 60% chance of showers and widely scattered thunderstorms for the central islands, like Exuma and Long Island. Temperatures today around 90, 91 Fahrenheit, 33 Celsius, but the heat index when it's not raining is going to make it feel like it's 104 Fahrenheit, 40 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down to about 80, 81 Fahrenheit, 26, 27 Celsius. In your extended outlook for Wednesday, Independence Eve, we're looking at partly cloudy to overcast conditions. a 30 to 50% chance of widely scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms. By Thursday, Independence Day, we're looking at partly cloudy to cloudy conditions, gradual clearing throughout the day, still a 30 to 40% chance of shower storms. And Friday, are you going back to work on Friday? Cloudy to overcast in the northern and northwest Bahamas, a mix of sun and clouds, turning mostly fair at night in the central and southeast Bahamas. Partly cloudy for Saturday and into Sunday. The tropics are quiet. Tropical cyclone formation not expected during the next 7 days. That's your morning blend weather check brought to you by Sherwin-Williams Paints. Are your walls giving major L? Well, time to fix that at your nearest Sherwin-Williams Paint store. They've got vibrant colors delivered with professional vibes. Done glistening? Well, done listening. Start glistening with Sherwin-Williams Paints. And it's time for a check of traffic brought to you by RBC. With RBC, reaching your goals happens here. In your real-time traffic, we're seeing some congestion on West Bay Street near Nassau Street as you're heading into downtown. For the eastbound lanes there, heading into Marlborough Street, you'll see that slow-moving traffic just east of Arawak Key. Also, we've got a bit of congestion for you at Milo Butler Highway. It's definitely not as bad as you normally see at this hour. North of Harold Pond, as you get closer to the roundabout with Tawny Williams Darling Highway, you'll see a few cars ahead of you. But it's Tawny Williams Darling Highway that's seeing the slow-moving traffic that's westbound and west about into Harold Road. You'll see that as well. A bit of congestion, slow-moving traffic at least, on the New Providence Highway side heading towards Sports Center Road and the roundabout there. Carmichael looking a bit busy for you at various spots. Some slow-moving traffic in spots westbound towards Faith Avenue and just east of Fire Trail. Some slow-moving traffic on the way to Blue Hill Road. Blue Hill's busy near Soldier Road northbound and at the roundabout with Independence Drive. Westbound on Independence Drive looking busy for you. East Street, just north and south of the Soldier Road intersection, seeing some slow-moving northbound traffic. And as you get closer to the east-west highway roundabout, Prince Charles Drive, the major intersections, especially Beatrice Avenue, slow-moving traffic there. It's your real-time traffic and your morning blend traffic alert brought to you by RBC. With RBC, your ideas happen here.
At Cleveland Clinic, care is everything. So when your primary purpose is to care for the world, you'd start with your community. Until you're accessible anywhere. You make complexities your specialties and put compassion before anything else. All to redefine what's possible. For everyone, everywhere. For every care in the world. Cleveland Clinic.
Maybe it's time to explore your options. There's no harm in reviewing your mortgage arrangement and considering a better deal. CIBC Caribbean can help you narrow your search and decide. Switch your mortgage to CIBC Caribbean and enjoy a special interest rate and help towards your switching cost. Visit CIBCFCIB.com/inspired home for more information. Conditions apply.
As a healthcare professional, you dedicate your life to caring for others. But even with the best care, legal challenges can arise. Protect your practice and your peace of mind with medical malpractice insurance from Star General. At Star General, we've partnered with Lloyd's of London to bring you comprehensive professional liability insurance designed specifically for those consulting or practicing privately. Visit our website today so you can focus on what you do best, caring for your patients, while we take care of the rest. Star General, insurance made simple.
Don't shop at Sherwin-Williams then. Don't get the best service in the Bahamas then.
The love is really, really strong in Sherwin-Williams. We don't just sell paint. We service you with a smile, good hearts, mind, soul, and body. And we love our customers as much as we love ourselves. Real talk. I'm not just saying this to impress myself. We love to go beyond with customer service. So they feel delighted to come in Sherwin-Williams because they know I can either see Dee Dee, or I can see Shelly, or one of our other wonderful staff members. We treat our customers with the respect of our boss because there are many paint companies they could choose to go to. No, baby. If they go to some other paint companies, so I gonna get this little thing at the end of the week.
We want to make sure you get that little ting, Shelley. Come visit Shelley and Dee Dee at Sherwin-Williams, Bahamas, and you'll surely find color in every day.
Are you dreaming of a brighter future? The answer is right beneath your feet. Buying land is a wise investment. You can build a home, hold it as collateral, or pass it on to your children. And with CIBC Caribbean, buying land is a bold move you can make right now. CIBC Caribbean is giving you US $250 towards your valuation cost and 50% off your loan application fee. Visit CIBCCaribbean.com for more details. CIBC Caribbean terms and conditions apply.
As I was walking down the street one day, I met a pretty lady, she was going my way. I said, lady, would you walk along with me? I'll show you sights of interest, this is my country. Like the water tower and the Queen staircase. And maybe later we could go to my place. She was looking pretty and smiling with me, and I think my line is beguiling. She was looking pretty and smiling with me, and I think my line is beguiling.
We are back with Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan along with Duquesa Dean. We're going to pick up our conversation from earlier in the show in just a bit. And we've heard more on an overnight, a horrible incident overnight, a murder-suicide, it appears. So we're going to get into that. Just unbelievable. But for now, we're talking independence and celebrating our wonderful country. And this is an exciting event that's coming up, Made in the Bahamas Festival. And here to tell us all about this from the Nassau Cruise Port, we're very happy to have back with us Aisha Roll. Good morning.
Good morning.
That's almost for you, by the way. Did you hear it? Yeah. You don't have your headphones on, so I don't know if you heard it. But hey, good to see you as always. All right, so this is interesting. When are you doing this? This is...
So July 19th. So not this weekend, but next weekend.
Yeah.
We'll have the Made in the Bahamas Festival brought to you by Nassau Cruise Port, Killick and Ron Ricardo. So we're so happy to team up with CBL essentially to bring this event. And these are the brands of the Bahamas. So Killick and Ron Ricardo, we're super excited. This is going to be a full day of activity. So we're starting from 3 p.m. and going straight until 12.
Wow.
So it's almost a twofold event, right? So we're going to have activities for the kids. So from 3 to 7, we'll have our kiddie corner going. We're going to have some caricature and face painting and snow cones and hot dogs and all of and bouncing castles. So it's going to be a time for the kids from 3 p.m. until about 7. And then we're going to kick it into overdrive. And we have the all-star Bahamian concert.
Wow.
This is a massive lineup. Now, we're going to have performances during the day, during that 3 to 7 hour, of course. But at 7, we also have a few DJs. We have DJ Tank, DJ Kenny, DJ Jeezy, DJ Tunes, and DJ Extreme. So it's an action-packed day. The Bahamian All-Star lineup includes Avi, Ancient
You need
Man.
to take a deep breath before you say this.
That's a long
That's a long list.
Avi, Ancient Man, Fan Sean, Shine 242, Puzzle, Zeta Energy, Elkin 360, all backed by the Higher Level Band and the Pond Band.
Okay.
So we have a big...
And there's more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And So we're going to kick off the event with the Royal Bahamas Police Force marching band.
Wow.
They're going to bring us into the event space. And then we're going to have a Junkanoo rush out at some point, giveaways. We're going to have some pop-up food vendors there, some Bahamian artisans. So the cruise port does pride itself on being authentically Bahamian. So, of course, we have our stores in Port Marketplace and Port Plaza as well. But we are inviting other vendors that are not, positioned at the cruise port to pop up that day.
Right.
Okay. So if you are interested in being a pop-up vendor, email us at events@nassaucruiseport.com and we can help, get you out there.
So is the requirement that everyone on that day sell things that are authentically Bahamian? Is that one?
If it is retail in terms of like bags, then we would stress that.
Wow.
Yeah.
So how would it work? What do you need to do? Is there a cost to
so there is a cost. It's $150 to pop up. But if you are interested, if you need more information, just email us at events@nassaucruiseport.com.
Yeah. All right.
So may I just ask about the date selection?
So a lot is happening this week in particular. Yeah. And, independence isn't just one day. It isn't just one weekend. So it's summer. Families are looking for things to do. So why not, get everybody else out the way and then come check us next week.
Then come to the bass, right?
That sounds pretty good. All right. So you really think you can get this done by midnight? Because it sounds like you might need to go a little past that time.
I mean, we'll go as the night leads us. We are the venue, so we can shut ourselves down.
Right. That's the thing, right? It sounds going to be a fantastic.
And as you said, that stage, that's a perfect place for something like this.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
$10 for adults. Children under 3 are free. Children 4 to 12 are $5.
Okay.
So you can't beat it.
Wow. Yeah. Pretty cool. So everything is set. The lineup.
The lineup is set.
Everything okay.
The lineup is set. Flyers have been out for quite some time now. The artists are excited. We're ready to go.
Yeah. Can you tell us which Junkanoo group?
So it's always a mix.
Okay.
It's always a mix. Yeah.
That's fair.
Wow.
Girl, I don't blame you.
And remind folks about the food vendors, what type of stuff they might be.
So food vendor pop-ups, we have, of course, all Bahamian businesses. We have Bar Amazing coming out. We have the Corn Roaster. He's to a lot of our events. We have a new vendor, Lord, his name is, it's something vibes. It's a food truck pop-up, but we have a few vendors coming out.
Okay.
For those that are familiar with the port, whenever we do have an event, the food truck court is essentially in the parking lot, and we open up the fence so everything is like even flow.
Okay.
And then you're also welcome to bring your chairs and your blankets, because we do have seating, but of course seating is limited, right?
Yeah.
But you're welcome to bring your chairs and your blankets, and I think the rule of thumb now is, just keep your chair in your back trunk.
Right.
When you go to the
Right.
port, just pop it out and come on into the Ampy lawn.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
So that is next week.
Next
Saturday.
week, Saturday. The
Anything
19th.
exciting happening during this? I know you say it's a busy time, but anything exciting
We're
happening
going to
this
have
week?
some bands pop up on Independence. So if you
Okay.
want to come on out and just, walk through the port, have some lunch, grab
On
a drink.
Thursday?
On Thursday.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Now, the
super
port is
cool.
open to the public. We can't stress that enough. You don't have to wait for us to have something to come.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you want to get a glass of wine after work on any given day, the Gallery and Wine Bar is open. Shore Break is open. Island Post. These are all Port Plaza tenants. They're restaurants and bars. And come experience the port.
What I like about it is that, it's for us. It's, made in the Bahamas. It's Bahamian things, but also on that particular day, Thursday and next week, Saturday, our guests will get to have a taste of the Bahamas as
Absolutely.
well, like authentically Bahamian.
That should be
Absolutely.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what about this weekend as well? Anything?
This weekend, no, nothing planned this weekend.
But the port will be open.
But it'll be open. So come on over, have lunch.
Yeah,
You know.
sounds good. All right, what time on Thursday stuff would
Your bands
Yeah, can you
and
expect
About
stuff?
12 o'clock. And then we're going to have a Junkanoo Rush out at 12 o'clock as well.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
12 o'clock
12
daytime.
Daytime.
Okay.
Yeah.
pretty cool.
Daytime, 12 o'clock. Because we want the guests to be able to
Yes,
experience,
enjoy
you know.
it, yeah.
At 12 o'clock on Thursday, Independence Day, we will have a Junkanoo Rush out at Nassau Cruise Port.
All right, so let people know again, for those just tuning in, about Made in the Bahamas Festival.
Again, Made in the Bahamas Festival, hosted by the Mighty Pencil and Kenny, is July 19th. It's starting at 3 p.m. and going straight until 12 a.m. We are proudly partnering with Kalik and Ron Ricardo to bring this event to you. This is a Bahamian all-star concert featuring Avi, Ancient Man, Fan Sean, Shine 242, Puzzle, Zeta Energy, Elkin 360, all backed by Higher Level Band and the Pont Band. DJ Tank, DJ Jeezy, DJ Tunes, DJ Kenny, and DJ Extreme will be taking us through the early hours. There's going to be a marching band performance by the Royal Bahamas Police Force Band, Junkanoo Rush Out, giveaways, food vendors. It's going to be a whale of a time from 3 p.m. until 12, maybe a little after.
Oh, man. Sounds amazing.
Sounds phenomenal.
All right, somebody's asking again if they want to be a vendor.
Email events@nassaucruiseport.com. And it is $150 pop-up fee.
Okay.
Okay. And if they want to be a vendor, not just for this event, that's what they're asking.
Other events, email.
Same email.
Or just permanently.
Same email.
Events at nassaucruiseport.com. Okay. All right. So we're looking forward to this next week, Saturday.
Next week,
Get
Saturday.
all your independence
Yeah.
partying out of the way this week. Rest up and come back
There you
Saturday,
go.
July 19th to the Nassau Cruise Port.
Absolutely.
From 3 p.m. to maybe
a little bit after midnight.
After
Tell
midnight.
it over. I'll tell it over.
All right. Aisha Roll, always a pleasure. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having
really
me.
appreciate it. Happy Independence to you.
Same to you. Same to you.
All right, we're going to take a break and be back. A whole lot more to talk about on Morning Blend on Tuesday morning here on Guardian Radio 96.9.
Printing services, look no further. Let Printmasters bring your masterpiece to life. We stand by our quality products that is second to none. Our affordable pricing and friendly, efficient staff makes Printmasters the ultimate choice for all your printing needs. We can deliver any type of printing services, from banners to booklets to business cards. You name it, we can print it.
Let Printmasters bring your masterpiece to life.
Located in the Nassau Guardian Building, telephone 302-2361.
Abaco, get ready for the summer's official rum and beer lingo. Royalty Sounds present Found Fast. Found Fast. Saturday, July 5th, Morris Harbor, Abaco. At the Royal Recreational Ground. Gates open 5 p.m., $20 entry. Ladies free before 8 p.m. With Nassau and Abaco's hottest DJ. Don't miss the beer drinkers versus rum drinkers competition.
Pulling for the best side,
Damn rum for me. Found Fast, July 5th, Abaco. Sponsored by Collect, the beer of the Bahamas. Drink responsibly.
It's time to upgrade the way you enjoy at-home entertainment. Alive Fiber is here. Enjoy all your favorite channels and streaming apps, all at lightning-fast internet speeds with affordable bundles, and it's only a click away. Visit www.alivefiber.com to sign up now. Stay connected, live your life. It's good to be alive.
With RBC, your idea of loving every journey happens now. Free up cash with affordable auto financing from RBC. With competitive rates and no bank fees, it's the perfect time to make every journey something special. Apply now to pre-qualify in 60 seconds at rbc.com/auto loan to shop with confidence. Conditions apply. RBC, your idea of loving your journey happens here.
Planning for retirement can be overwhelming, but with CFAL, it doesn't have to be. We offer tailor-made individual, group, and pension solutions that take the guesswork out of retirement planning. Whether it's for you or your company, don't leave your future to chance and let the trusted hands of CFAL's experts guide you toward peace of mind and financial stability. Low upfront costs and affordable monthly payments make it easy for you to build wealth so you can live well. Visit us at cfal.com to start on your path toward financial freedom. CFAL, growing wealth for future generations.
Fly away with me through the Bahama Keys.
Tired of the hustle and bustle of Nassau? Fly away to the Family Islands with our fly-free offer for Bahamian residents. Stay at any of our hotels for 2 nights and get a round-trip ticket for free. Visit bahamasresidents.com for details.
My Bahama land, yes, my country. Come fly away with me.
Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Street, has those hard-to-find fasteners for you right now. You can find stainless steel regular hex, carriage bolts, galvanized bolts, threaded rods, nails, self-tap screws, sex bolts, anchor bolts, turnbuckles, masonry tools, hand tools, and weed whacker strings. Check out the rope selection and car body fasteners too. Special orders are welcome. It's your #1 fastener store. Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Streets. Call 326-1976.
Family life is full of joy and challenges. With a Fidelity personal loan, you can handle life surprises while focusing on what matters most. From home renovations to unexpected expenses, fast, reliable solutions to any problem life throws your way. Make that move today. Call 356-7764.
Fidelity, we're good for you.
Nassau is the capital, Bahamas. He is the gateway, Bahamas. 1492, Columbus landed. 1973, we were free. From Nassau to Inagua, Bahamas. From Freeport to Mequona, Bahamas. Tourists love our country, Bahamas. 700 islands, Bahamas.
We are back with Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan, along with Duquesa Dean on this Tuesday. Okay, oh boy, this song was out of my head for a whole year. Now you put it back in my head. Yeah, every July. That's what's going to happen.
Why not?
Yeah,
Why
boy.
not?
Sorry about that. So we were talking about some heavy stuff in the beginning of the show after that shooting overnight left 4 people injured. We have more on this now from the police and details on a horrific murder-suicide, it appears, from overnight as well. So let's get to the shooting that we were talking about. So this is the latest on that. Boy. So with the shooting, let's pull this up here. Okay. So police are investigating the shooting incident that happened around on New Providence on Monday outside a home in Mason's Addition, which has left 4 men hospitalized. Initial information suggests that sometime around 9 p.m., the occupants of a white and gray colored Kia SUV pulled up at a residence on Whitfield Road, rolled down the window of the vehicle, and discharged multiple gunshots in the direction of the group on the outside. 4 male victims, aged 54, 29, 24, and 19, sustained injuries and were transported to the hospital for medical care. They're classified as stable, while 3 of the victims are classified as stable. The 4th one is in serious condition. We don't know which one is the 4th one, but wow. So that's a lot. And apparently a very busy Monday night for police. Police investigating an armed robbery in the Kemp Road area. And in Grand Bahama as well. firearms arrests and stuff. But this is the one that is getting everyone's attention.
Mhm.
This happened early this morning, around 1 o'clock in Montel Heights. So 2 men are dead and an adult woman and a juvenile female injured. So according to police, the male suspect, a 58-year-old, armed and a cutlass, went to the home on Mantell Street in Montel Heights, where he confronted and attacked an adult female resident with a cutlass. Further, the suspect during the altercation discharged the firearm in the direction of a man inside the residence, resulting in his death.
Well, yeah.
The young girl, the juvenile female at the scene, was also injured with a gunshot injury. Upon arrival, the suspect was found near the residence with an apparent self-inflicted gunshot wound. A firearm was recovered at the scene. EMS visited the scene and examined all the individuals. The adult male and the suspect had no vital signs of life. The injured woman and the young girl were taken to the hospital for medical treatment. Wow.
That's heavy.
That is
heavy.
out of a movie.
Right? You dead and she alive? And where in the part of the plot does that even make sense?
Yeah, well, you're making a lot of assumptions about what this is
I
all
know,
about.
right?
But, oh, man,
I know,
what a
right?
terrible
But, Mike,
situation.
it's
I mean, it does
horrible.
sound like something like that.
It's horrible.
Wow.
And a child? Like, how do you recover, like, the amount of therapy that's going to be required?
And that's the thing. Does anybody ever get therapy after all this stuff?
I'm seriously, though, like, seriously.
The number of people who've seen murders, witnessed loved ones slaughtered, do they go to therapy? Is anyone helping them afterwards?
That's a good question. That's a very good question. And then here we are wondering why people blowing
Yeah, exactly.
like the
because they're not
gaskets,
talking to
right?
anybody after this.
You know?
They're told, oh, well, that was something else. Hey, snap out of it. Let's go for lunch.
Right. What you mean
Let's
snap
get a
out
drink.
of it? Right. You know, well, we do extend condolences to the families of, you know, the victim in this the situation and wish a speedy recovery to the ladies. But it's a horrible, horrible. Where does the mindset come from, though?
Wow. All right, so let's get your reaction to this. Plenty of people had a lot to say earlier about what's causing this. We have tons of your text messages we didn't get to from the earlier part of the show on what's causing people to be thinking like this, to be so violent. And I've taken a look at a few of them, and this is going to be interesting. But let's hear from you on this situation here. Murder, suicide, such an extreme act of violence.
I'm telling you.
Cutlass and a gun.
Right. That was deep intent. One of these could work. That was deep intent.
Wow.
And passion.
Yeah, this is definitely a crime of passion. It appears exactly the what's what we don't
Right.
know, but this is
Wow. Wow.
Let's hear from you. Good morning, caller. You are on the air.
Good morning, Dwight. Good morning, DeQuesta. How you doing?
Good
Doing well.
morning.
Good morning.
Good.
Yeah, Dwight, here we are with this conversation again, Dwight. And, the situation again, and basically the same things are being said by the callers. And I mean, Dwight, I'm glad that you made mention that slavery should be considered as something that plays a major role, because it is, Dwight. You know what I mean? And in this society, we have ignored that. And DeQuesta was saying something earlier about the men in the society need to do certain things. I mean, first of all, we already have that lack of knowing what we're supposed to really be about. But then again, too, and from the other side, because I'm certain that you have heard individuals complain a lot about how it seems as if institutions, international institutions at that too, seem more concerned with the women than the men. You know what I mean? The programs that they put out. So when you talk about the men need to do a better job, because I mean those international institutions that individuals be dealing with, they need to do better too. Because like I said before, you know that there's been a cry that they seem as if they only interested in developing women. All right, so that's something that they could do also. And so Dwight, the reality, Dwight, is that we could talk about this thing, like how they say, until the cows come home, unless we are really willing to take a comprehensive look at our situation. It's not that simple. You know what I mean? Slavery, our problem is like basically slavery, and it's like an onion. Slavery is the onion, but the onion has many layers to it. You understand? It is not as simple. But the bottom line is that we do not possess the faculty, we do not possess the mentality to solve our problems. So you can't get water from the rock unless you use Moses.
So I have a question for you, caller.
The thing about it is that we live in a society, right? Because like when I say our institutions have failed us, the religious institution, the school, and the government. I mean, we have a D average. They talk about how important education is. We have a D average in the school, and the government don't care about it.
It's,
you know what I mean?
that's, well, got to stop you there because that's not fair to say, and that's an exam.
I said seemingly, Dwight, because
No. But again, the D is the average score. It's not a fail.
Yeah.
So I mean, to say that is not fair.
Okay, but unless you're going to show me, but it seems as if our government is not putting in the necessary programs to make that stigma go away.
What specific programs are you looking for support with when you talk about international organizations that support women or, that pay more attention to the women? What specifically are you looking for when you talk about male support?
Well, I mean, for one, I'm looking for the presence of programs, Lucrezia. Because like I said before, the complaint is always the lack thereof.
But are you sure there aren't programs? There are tons of programs.
There are things, right, even locally that happen. I
didn't need to know.
There are things that happen even here locally, and I just want to call men out. You're not victims. I'm so sorry if that song's a bit strong. Men can stand up to the plate too to create and craft programs. I see programs, even in this year, there were different programs. People came on the radio talking about this for men, this for men. Are the men turning up? Are the men showing up? Because the programs could come, but if the men don't show up to participate in them.
Well, there's no doubt that individuals can form those programs. But then again, like I said before, we really suffer from a lack of abilities, really are. We really suffer from that. But you're still talking, Duquesa.
But women are a victim of this too, though. They've taken up the mantle, as they say, and have started the programs that you're complaining about, though.
Yeah, but what I'm saying, Dwight, is that you find the majority of like even here, the programs that they deal with right here, right? I'm sure that if you were to look deep into the programs that are started here to deal with women, right? Most of them originate from international sources. Do you understand? Most of them are NGO organizations and international organizations. I mean, even as high up as the UN, who deal and focus on programs specifically to develop women in all areas of life. In all areas of life. So, yes, Duquesa, but if you were to take away those international organizations that exist and operate here, and you as our citizens to represent them, right? If you were to take away them from the women, you would not see the programs that you're talking about that women supposedly taking the initiative.
I disagree.
If it wasn't for those things that I'm talking about, those things would not be as the way they are. So all I'm asking for is a balance. Do you understand?
So have you tried to look at starting something that you wanted to see done that you feel is lacking? Have you tried to start something that you feel is lacking that you feel should be done for men?
Yeah, but yes, sir. But I mean, it's going to take me away from the point I want to make. But yes,
no, but that's a serious question, though.
Many times, I don't know if you heard me talk about this industry that I want to start, right? An industry where I want to teach individual skills, with the coconut shell in particular, and I want to do my part where I can give hope to individuals who have probably been in prison and feel as if that they can't get a job no more, or individuals who haven't finished high school and feel as if that they can't get employment and feel hopeless. I want to give them hope, right? But I can't get the support that I need for my community, and what I have is a great thing. So I have done at least I have tried.
But who have you talked to, though? I think maybe you haven't talked to the right people. I don't know if you've talked to the right people. I'm sure there will be international support for this as well.
But I mean, I also feel that, as someone with a NGO, right, I feel that we operated for 3 or 4 years without even getting all of the paperwork involved. You start small. You start with who you could touch. You start with what you could reach, and then you build from there. I mean, yes, that outside support can help you go faster. It can help you go further. It shouldn't stop you from starting, though. If you reach 2, those 2 can help.
Not everyone is interested in the formal part of things. You know what I mean? Like all that getting together.
So how do you get support if you don't?
But furthermore, see, I prefer to operate the Quessa from a more comprehensive perspective, meaning that I prefer to do things where the nation itself can benefit as opposed to just the individuals who attend the program or the thing that I'm under, right? So what I'm talking
You
about
got to
is
start from somewhere, though.
I didn't hear you.
You have to start from somewhere. You have to start with.
Yeah, but Dwight. But let's start, right? Let's start on the right thing. You understand?
What is the right thing?
What I'm saying is that all we have to do, Dwight, is the education system can be reformed. Like I said before, other institutions have failed us, including the religious and the government. But the religious system in particular also needs to be reformed. Do you understand where I come from, Dwight? Because like you said, slavery has played a great role in the way we think. You know, and we right now suffer from a lack of knowledge of self. Do you understand? And that is why, Dwight, you could I appreciate, Dwight, how you told the caller that Africans all over the place don't behave this way, because on the continent we don't really behave like that. Is basically the ones in the West who were subject to slavery. And if you look at the ones in the West too, Dwight, every decade or so, like from the 60s to the 70s to the 80s and 90s or whatever, the culture of black people changed because we blown with the wind. You know what I mean? We don't have no knowledge of self. We don't have no real culture. And the thing about it is that we live in a system that is promoting a negative way or identity to us. And I can see it, that is taking hold. And furthermore, Dwight, like the things that you mentioned earlier, when they were talking about the social ills that we are facing, the rise and the negative things among the youth, right? Like, what they call them statistics for, if we're not going to see programs being put in place to try and curb that, because if there's nothing done, like, to curb the status, the statistics that they mentioned to us, right? Then what kind of society we could be in 10 years?
But where does the responsibility for self come from, though? I mean, where's that responsibility for self-governance? We want to look at everything external and blame this and that and the next. But where do we take responsibility for ourselves individually? Where does that come into your plan?
Well, we're talking about, first of all, like I said before, people who have a twisted mentality, for one, right? People who lack the type of intelligence, emotional, and social that they should have, for one, Duquesa, right? And furthermore, Duquesa, it takes a village to raise a people, to raise a child. You know what I mean? But see, the thing about it is that all I'm saying is that if we have proper education in school, right, we could solve the problem. What's wrong with that? I mean, instead of challenging, I understand the point I'm trying to say to you. The school system is inadequate. The religious system is inadequate.
I don't know what that means.
And the thing about it is that we've been talking about these things for decades, right? And I guarantee you, if you're going to depend on the vices or the things that are established in society already to bring the solution and to the problems that we face, that will never happen.
Okay.
We need a culture shock. All right, we need
a lot of what you're saying is true. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. I don't know what you mean by the religious system. If you have a problem with a certain way a church does something, you could find another one, right? It doesn't work like that. Okay. The school, everybody knows you always need educational reform, but plenty of people are coming out of the same education system who are doing exceptionally well. There's a whole lot more to it. And this is what Duquesa is talking about when it comes to personal responsibility, right? Parents have to play a role. You just can't expect education only when you go to school. And it happens when you come home from school on the weekends in the summer. When you're not there, you need to find a way to get these kids interested in learning things. Cannot just wait for school.
Or church.
A lot of people aren't
something else.
A lot of people are not understanding that, and that's why so many are where they are. Struggling at this point,
right?
Expecting other people to educate them, to find programs for them, when you just can't always wait for somebody else.
What annoys me is that there are programs for men. Like, there are opportunities for men to do whatever. I just don't understand why people are saying that there are not opportunities. Even if it's not as much as women, there are opportunities. People come on the show all the time talking about man talk, man this, man the next, man all the things. So men are not victims. Okay, like when all of these programs happen for women, the programs can't work if the women don't show up. So the man program can't work if the men aren't showing up. Okay, and if there's a pain point for you, then that pain point exists for someone else, because what we think is only for us also impacts other people. Start your program with whatever your pain point is. You want to see little boys eat, then start giving them breakfast, even if it's 10 of them. If you want to see little boys come off the street, get 2 or 3 of them together. You would be amazed at how touching one can touch many.
Absolutely. We've got to go to the news, but let's take this call really quickly. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Are you there? Yeah. Hi, good morning.
Yes, good morning, Mr. Strong. Good morning, Aggressor.
Okay. Really quickly, or do you want to hold until we get back?
Right?
Yeah? Okay. All right. Yeah, let's go back. Go to the news. We'll come back. We'll pick this up. We got a whole of your text messages to get to, a lot to discuss on this Tuesday morning as we try to fix this country, this wonderful country, but a whole lot of issues, and we got to get a handle on it before we derail it.
Yeah.
This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, streaming on GuardianTalkRadio.com and the Guardian Radio app, Nassau, Bahamas. Views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of the management and staff of Guardian Radio.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Good morning and welcome to Morning Blend Business on this Tuesday, July 8th, 2025. Welcome back to our Morning Blend listeners. Once again, I'm Dwight Strachan along with Duquesa Dean. And we continue our discussion. It's a special edition of the show today. Continuing our discussion based on the horrible incidents that have happened in less than 24 hours here in New Providence. 4 men shot in a drive-by, basically in Mason's Addition last night. And then this shocking incident after midnight, around 1 o'clock this morning in Montel Heights, a murder, apparent suicide, a man with a gun and a cutlass injuring a woman and killing a man and shooting a juvenile female in the home and turning the gun on himself, apparently.
Crazy.
So it's just really crazy what's going on. So we're getting a reaction to all of this and talking about what we're going to do to get a handle on the violent nature of our people. And boy, so let's continue to talk. We got your text messages. Haven't been able to get to those as yet. We will get to those in just a bit. Give us a call, 323-6232. 325-4316. 325-4259. Call us toll free 242-300-5720. Caller, good morning. You're on the line.
Good morning. How are you doing this morning, sir?
Doing well.
That's good. I heard your last caller was talking about, before 52, I heard your last caller was talking about there are no men programs. Well, this is Bishop Chadwick James from the men's desk of the Department of Gender and Family Affairs and Social Services. And we have a lot of programs that we're doing, but the concern is not if there are programs. You could invite as many as you invite, but nobody show up for the programs. Everybody wants to complain about the different things that we're having. But I put my number out there every speaking engagement I go to, everywhere I go, and I give them my number to call. And I have yet to get one of the males to call. So it's not that there are no programs. It's just that nobody's coming to the program, just like the question said.
And you're not exaggerating. It's really that bad? People just aren't showing up?
Unless I specifically call the NGOs one-on-one. Now, whenever we're having seminars, functions, workshops, whatever, then some would show up. But we still don't have the same turnout like when we have any women's functions. So it's really, they choose not to be there. And I am coming from a complete thorough background, from even being the superintendent of the Simpson Penn Center for Boys. Various programs you do, you're still struggling to have men show up.
Yeah.
So until we show up, we all of the programs that we do, it will make no sense.
Tell us about some of the programs. What are some of the things that you're offering that you're hoping more men would take part in?
Well, right about now, I am specifically looking into something that's called FLIRT. And I use that term FLIRT because, people use the term men flirt. But that's an acronym. Fathers learning, instructing, realigning teens. And it's really to get almost a participatory program that each person, if they are fathers, and this is specifically for fathers, that fathers will bring to me an idea that they have, and I can work it with them, but I want them to participate. So if your son is into some kind of crazy stuff, whatever that might be, we want to take you to bring your son and maybe friends, and let's work your community, whatever it is that you wish to do, you wish to see, just like the question said. We will put whatever you say to us, we put some meat on that. We will even look towards assisting in that program as far as the budget will permit. So we'll do various things that can help that area, that program, to train that young man to assist his own child. But the FLIRT program really is about whatever the father's craft is. If that father is a doctor, he will get some of his son's friends to come and he show them how to, what are the steps you take to become a doctor? What did I have to do? Did it take me 20 years to study? Am I a specialist? So you're teaching your own child who will bring his friends and each one will reach one. If you're a mechanic, then you teach your children, your sons again. And I use that sons because we need to zero in on that. We have programs that are set up. We just did a program with the Governor General. I don't know if you would have remembered the Governor General. She invited young boys under 16 from every constituency in the Bahamas. And it was some 200-person young men who rented a government house and just to show them the difference. They stayed there for a 2-day seminar. We brought them from every family island. So there are programs that we are doing. But the problem is the men are not showing up.
Wow.
You have a whole lot of you have guys like Dario Maycock. He has a program start from primary school. But we're trying to get folk to assist. You have Apples, Burroughs. A lot of these young men are doing stuff. There are a whole lot of different NGOs that are doing things. But we will show up at a park and 10 persons show up.
Yeah.
But you have already given us all the invitation. We will show up at a meeting. I would call a meeting at my office. And everybody say they're coming. They don't show up. Men are busy. Yeah, of course men are busy. But if you think education is expensive, try ignorance.
My goodness. Chadwick, I still have your number, so I'm going to set up you to come on the show and talk in depth about all of these things so we can get the word out and have this crazy narrative about there not being any programs, because we know it's not true.
Let me just say this before you take off. We just opened, along with the police domestic violence building, right? Assistant Superintendent Kendra Wims, who is spearheading that, along with ACP Janet McKinsey. Now, the thing about it is they've opened that building for abused women. While at that opening, a few of the men came to me and said, what are we going to do about men? I said, men don't get abused. Now, I said that being facetious. But he told me, yes, men get abused. Yes, men get beaten. Yes, these women beaten. I totally agree with him. but there are no stats. You cannot prove that. I cannot go to the government and say, listen, Mr. Minister Miles LaRoda, we need a building for these men who are being abused, if not one man come forward. So we can have a home for when the women put the men out. That exists, and exists right in our country. But how do you do it without statistics? This is why we have so much problems in our country, because nobody is coming forward with it, and then nobody willing to let themselves come out there and say, listen, yes, we have a program. Yes, we're doing this. Yes, we're doing that. Because the men do not show up for the functions that we have for them. And when they show up, it's the same crew show up.
I think if we make it safe enough in terms of not you and your programs, but I'm talking about community-wide, countrywide, because there's still this talk about men manning up and just taking whatever without encouraging men to understand that their pain is valid. They can get mental health support, they can go to therapy, they can go to these programs without a stigma. It doesn't mean that you're weak. It means that you're evolving. You want to become better. You're getting support so that you can move from one point to get to the next. And so as a country, the narrative surrounding men getting help needs to change.
Yeah, but the country has sent me off to El Salvador to train in domestic violence about male and female. The country is doing stuff, but if nobody is coming through it, we still... So there's not that we do not have the program. As the superintendent of Simpson Penn, we had no boy in school, one or two before I went there. And this is not being mentioned, but after I made every young man, if you were not going to school on the street, you have to go to school, you're now incarcerated. I had A's and B's in BJC results from the Simpson Pen. And not just that, I have forced education to bring me in some BGCSE teachers because they did not have them. Now they have it. We did BGCSEs at the Simpson Pen. These are the same guys who will never be even recommended because they were not going to school. But when we place emphasis on education, the boys even charged with all of the various crimes were passing with A's and B's. So it's not that no programs are being done. It's not being mentioned like it should. But we are running programs with the social services to assist with men groups. If they would give me a call, and I would put my number out there again, to give me a call and let's see what you have to offer, what you can bring to the table. Let's do it. And the number there is, I hope you don't mind me saying this.
It's fine.
Okay, so the number is 397-8600. Bishop Chadwick James is in charge of the men's desk, 397-8600. Give me a call, whatever idea you have, men. It sounds crazy, but whatever idea you have, let's run your idea. We could work with that. But we can't do it if no one will come. This is not like the Field of Dreams, build it and they will come. We need to make sure get them so we can build it together. Because every program I want it to be a participatory program. I don't just want to do things for doing things. Like women show up to all these functions. When you see the Zonta and all those other women, when they call something, you have hundreds of women there because they're there. But when I call it, I make provision for the budget of the food and everything for 300 persons and 30 persons show up. So you already have 300 plates cooked, but only 30 persons show up.
Right.
So I totally want to let the nation know social services, the Department of Gender and Family Affairs, have the place is already set up for men to give us a call. Let's work, whatever it is. And this don't have to be NGOs. If you're the man, you want to be the one, just like the question said earlier, if you're the one who want to feed the boys, let's find a way to feed the 3 boys. If we start with 3 boys, the other 7 will come, the other 10 will come.
Yeah.
But you don't just want to feed them because, like Jesus said, the poor you have among you always. They come in for the food, but now you need to have substance to give them. If we're going to feed them, we have to transform them. My philosophy is transformation. I don't even believe in rehabilitation. Because if you rehabilitate a person, when they go back in that environment, they're going to take the form of you transform a person. You will transform that person to transform others. And I go on the principle of, and I'm saying this quickly, the principle of the metamorphosis. You can, a caterpillar can be transformed or metamorphosis to a butterfly. But a butterfly could never go back to being a caterpillar.
Correct.
Could never go back to being a caterpillar. So if we could transform them, then we can make a difference.
Okay.
And that's a whole seminar in itself. But I just want you to know we do have a program.
We're going to have you on and we can talk in depth about this. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bishop Chadwick James. Thank you. Appreciate it. Been promising for a while now. So, yeah. I don't know. I don't want to offend anybody, but I think it's excuses, just excuses that people are making there.
At
And,
this
and
juncture.
people wanting to be spoon-fed.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate. It's very sad. Let's take this call and then we'll get to your text messages. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Hi, are you there? No? Okay. Text messages. We're trying to figure out what's going on. What's the problem? People, a few of these text messages saying the music. It's the music that's the worst influence. Another one saying music and movies negatively affecting black people in the Western Hemisphere. Well, wow. But being made by those same people, though. So that's something else. But wow. Another texter says here, I've had multiple conversations with a mental health professional about what's happening here, and they've indicated that there's a whole host of factors. One of the biggest factors, they say, is also the most dangerous. It's all around us and invisible to the eye, and it's one that Bahamians take pleasure in feeding. It's stress. They said this thing is dangerous. Constant exposure to stress with no avenue for escape erodes the frontal lobe of the brain. True. This is the area of the brain responsible for emotional regulation. Imagine the child with a chaotic, abusive home environment, crammed into a sardine can, unkempt neighborhood, having to run the gauntlet of gang activity to and from school, then taunted while at school. This child will slowly revert to a caveman survival mindset. That is exactly what frontal lobe erosion is. Imagine the stress of seeing your friends killed one after the next. Yep. Whether criminal or not, we have a problem, and it will not be solved by some pretty urban renewal happy talk as suggested yesterday. Oh boy. Okay. Oh boy. That's
deep.
That's very deep. Very deep.
Yeah.
They go on to say, yes, when I mentioned animals in the jungle, exactly. Frontal lobe erosion, noise. Noise is a stressor. Noise interrupts sleep. We have so many societal issues. The government should be seriously looking at all of these noise violations within zoned residence neighborhoods that go well into 12 a.m., 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m., Monday, Tuesday, Saturday, Sunday. It doesn't matter. All day, all night. We have so many issues to address, and they're busy putting up Mother's Day billboards. Ooh. Anyway, this person says here, what's going on is you need both parents to raise a balanced child. If we believe Jesus Christ walked on water, made the blind see, the deaf raised the dead, and God spoke to Joseph, do not leave Mary alone with the child, be with her. Because he knew what was important for Jesus to have both parents. Look, we don't care about God's example. To heck with God. We're going to do it our way. So now we are paying the price for this. Okay, interesting text. This person says here, bring back hanging. It will curtail this murder rate in our country, I'm sure. Well, you're one of the few who are sure that it will. I hear you.
People just need, I don't know if specifically hanging, but people do need to see that there are consequences for these infractions. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Day before yesterday, I was driving on Mackey Street, and there was this little red cube. The traffic was going south, traffic was going north, and she was too impatient to wait in the traffic. So she was making her way up the middle, up a hill, up that little slope, right?
It was a she?
It was a she, right? And she's going up here, and I don't really care that this is illegal. Like, are you serious? And if you just look at the state of traffic on the road and the people that are driving, it speaks volumes to people's mindset. So why do you think that it's okay for you to do what you're doing? And if there are no consequences, there will be no change.
Yep, absolutely.
Right?
Only if there's an accident, they can go back and look at the CCTV and then do something. But if there's nothing that happens, there will be scot-free, and people know this and do what they need to do, apparently.
And the way this corruption goes so deep, because, we when you hear, we will sell everything. We will, okay, great, like, this is what's supposed to happen, but let me give you the slide 50. So you could make that go away, or so that you could make this result happen faster, or so that we just I don't understand us. I don't. So corruption is everywhere, like corruption and acceptance of doing things that we know innately we know is wrong.
Well, I think that happens everywhere, but it goes unchecked here.
Right.
Right? It's so easy to do that.
Right.
And we've made systems where people won't find out or won't question.
Correct.
And so that's the problem, because people will try.
And it breaks
Humans
down
would
the
try
moral
it.
fabric of who we are as individuals. So if we get okay doing what we know is illegal or immoral, and our conscience gets seared, so we don't care about that anymore. We're going to move on to bigger things. And so the more things that don't bother us, the greater the risks we're willing to take.
Well, also, plenty of people have done crazy things and have come back and bigger and better than ever.
True.
And so folks are like,
I can take that chance.
yeah, why not?
Right.
If this one can remake themselves and still be accepted and still get
Right.
this
like
job
special designation.
nominated here,
This is so true.
crowned this,
Right.
honored with that.
Agree.
What?
So what are we supporting?
So what?
Right.
I can do what I gotta
What's
do.
the message we're sending?
This is what's happening every day. Let's take some more calls. Good morning. You're on the air.
Yes, good morning, DeGrasse. Good morning, Dwight.
Good morning.
Hi.
Yeah, I thought the producer had left me on the line. I was until I heard the other caller came at first. But, the gentleman that called in, Rasta Chris, right? He's a craftsman. And I was always amazed with craft and carving, sculpture, etc. as a youth. And so the gentleman who called, who says he's from the Simpson Pen, all of these gentlemen, they're doing a terrific job now. DeGrasse said to start it, which is very important, and the impetus and to be importunate or relentless. Not to the point of annoyance, but in the city, listen to the gentleman from the Simpson Pen, and I'd like to congratulate him because what he's doing really is basically tumultuous, and it's really, really, I know it's rewarding for him, the fact that he said that what he has achieved with some of the youth STEM. So that's a perfect example of what can happen. But then when we look at the lack of participation or incentive to get into these programs, then we must look at outreach. And then because I live in the inner city and I grew up out east, out Sunshine Park, etc., so I'm socially diverse. I've seen the curse. Some of these same inner city programs have people that are molesting some of these children. Me personally, I'm reluctant. I mean, I have a son who's very young, and so I'm looking at, and we don't want to face these things, but this is what's going on now. And so when we look at what Rasta was saying about looking at data and then just producing charter, it's really a serious thing because look how long we have known that the 50% of the students were not graduating. We see the delinquency and the social deviance in the schools, and we haven't addressed these problems as far as safety. I've seen some ridiculous things over the couple of weeks about teachers being beaten up and all of these type things. Like, these type things are inconceivable to me. I really don't think a teacher should even, things like that should never even happen to a teacher. And I listen to the Cresser, very intelligent. The Cresser knows that the way how people drive on the streets is a part, is a display of their psyche. The Cresser, another joke is a lady, her face is bleached out. She almost knocked me down right on the corner by National Insurance. I was heading south, and she was trying. And she cussed me. She was on the phone, and I just wanted to make sure she had seen me on the bicycle because the bike is very expensive.
Right.
And I told her that she wouldn't, most people wouldn't believe the price of the bicycle if they knocked me, but anyhow, you understand what I'm saying, right? But what I'm saying is, my condolences to all of those incidents that happened, but the social fallout has been going on for a while, Mr. Strachan. Now, outreach programs, if we see what we're doing at working outreach programs, this gentleman with the Simpson Pen, he has a great idea, but what I'm saying is, let's say the guys who does the Calvin Clint, him, and even the pollsters, anybody try to outreach these youths, because what has happened now over the decades is the gang has blossomed, has ballooned, and has become so powerful. The youths, they're not going to be attracted towards certain programs if there's not an outreach. There has to be an aggressive outreach because it is actually running away with society. And so as it relates to men being abused, there's types of abuse. You have financial abuse. All of us have suffered that. Physical abuse. Most men are not physically abused, but I'll share this side. So you see the gentleman that is locked up for the girl that went to the hospital and died, right, Mr. Strachan? That's a schoolmate of mine. He lives just around the corner. So I heard he was injured also. But what I'm saying is, for somebody like me who was basically never fought a woman, just a slap maybe over the past 40 years, 50 years. But even that, I feel bad about that. And that's because something they said. But what I'm saying is we have to have this emotional intelligence, like Rasta was saying. And without that, then we are just wallowing because, that's, Mr. Strachan, just look at the information that we have before us, right? And
So we got a lot of calls.
Of these programs.
We get your point. Thank you so much for calling. I really appreciate it.
Detailed and thorough.
Wow, lots of details.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get these calls in. We got a lot of text messages too. So, oh my gosh, or should we take a break? I think we. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Dwight, how you doing?
I'm here. Mm-hmm.
Right there, man. Right there. Yeah, people also need to look into depression because depression is actually an invisible mental health condition, right? And actually, depression is actually the second greatest cause of death. And people will look into that. And plus, a lot of medications causes depression and suicidal thoughts and suicidal dreams. So a lot of people need to look into a lot of things pertaining mental health.
Yeah, mental health.
But
is a
check
big
into
one.
depression. The depression, that's actually a serious thing. People be looking at people and say, oh, well, they just sad. No, the person actually depressed. So
No,
people need
that's
to
a big
watch out
problem.
for those because that's an invisible sign of mental health illness.
Well, I think the study that the Ministry of Health did, thank you so much, is proof that lots of people, as a texter said, stress, depression, all these things are a major reason why people are lashing out and acting unreasonably because they've got so much going on, can't process their feelings and stuff. And we've all experienced that at some point.
And sometimes it's the little thing that's the straw that breaks the camel's back, as the saying is, right? Because so much was happening.
Whatever you do, don't touch anybody, though.
No.
Okay. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Hey, morning, my brother.
Hi, good morning.
This is John Canoe II.
Oh, hey. I hope all's well.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Your show has been so hard lately. I keep trying to call in and can't get through. But,
Oh, man.
You know, I'm glad I get through. Glad I get through now. Just wanted to make one or two comments, and I think that one of the things that we must always consider when we speak about the social is we have to remember that the Bahamas, we are a nation that is a part of the African diaspora. And, we have been going through centuries of this trauma. And, of course, most of us are sort of conditioned to dismiss that part of our history, right? But if you think of our involvement in the Bahamas as Africans, as people, we have gone through so much trauma. And it's now been scientifically proven that when you go through extreme trauma through generations, these things are very much encoded in our DNA. And this is not, of course, the overall and the only reason. All of the reasons behind, our young black men, sort of going at each other in this way, the lack of conflict resolution, abuse, the lack of emotional intelligence, all of this is certainly firmly rooted in the transatlantic slave trade and colonization. To pivot as well, there's this sort of myth that African people, black people, are the most violent. They're the only ones that do this to each other. And that certainly isn't true. When you look at Mexico, when you look at nations like Honduras, El Salvador, though they are not African, they are, in fact, mostly indigenous American, right? Mm-hmm. And you can see this parallel between Africans and indigenous Americans and all of these social ills. And I heard on Z Live yesterday, extremely interesting show, another show that I quite enjoyed. We were talking about suicide rates, and it was not surprising that indigenous Americans have the highest suicide rates of them all, right? And I guess countering what I would say would be that blacks tend to have a lower suicide rate compared to other races in the United States. But our deep-seated trauma, one that we have actually been conditioned not to actually acknowledge, right? And so we hear notions of slavery being easy in the Bahamas, not so bad in the Bahamas, and there's this sort of conditioning to not acknowledge our traumatic, racist past that we've also had, right? And this indeed adds to the frustration, the mass disenfranchisement of black Bahamians that came afterwards through the truck and credit system, through nefarious land grabs, through living in a capitalist society. So if I have 10 apples and only 10 apples available and I have 9, then the rest, right? So all of these are different deep-seated issues. And of course, it's not to make an excuse or to remove personal responsibility, but all of these things and these factors that I mentioned sort of exacerbate this environment where we are conditioned to make the wrong choices. And of course, there's a wide conspiracy of them only showing the negative side of us, So if you watch social media nowadays, you think that all the black Americans in Chicago just shooting each other up on the streets every day, when it's really just a small portion of us. But those of us that are doing better must support, like the gentleman from Simpson Penn and all of these people. Instead of us just talking about it, we need to try to be the change that we indeed want to see. So I just wanted to chime in a little bit on that, and for us to remember the historical factors that lead to all of our social ills today, because these things will also, in my opinion, be the greatest factor in also unifying us today. Right? So I'll just hang up and listen in. Thanks for giving me 2 minutes to drop my 5 cents.
No problem. Christopher Davis, always welcome. Thank you very much. Got to have you on soon. Very soon. Thank you for that. Wow. Some text messages before we take another call. This person says here, poverty is the main factor as to why we act the way we do. Do you think so?
A factor could be.
If everyone was given $100,000, the Bahamas would be fine. Oh,
Really?
I don't know about that.
Wow.
Oh boy.
Wow.
Oh man.
Not that they would like blow it in the first week and be back to
Week?
0, right?
Week?
No, that's not the solution.
Week?
It's not the solution.
Before the end of the day. The end of the day, some people.
Yeah.
Not all, and you'd be surprised at who would. Would that
Buy
would
the
be
flashy
gone,
car.
and
Oh,
that would be.
yeah, agree.
I don't like to. Boy, I don't know. I don't know about that. Okay. Let's take this call, and then we got to take a break. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning to you, Dwight. Good morning, DeQuesta.
Good morning.
Dwight, let me just touch on 3 things that 3 different people spoke. Rasta, Chris, 52, and Mr. Davis. Mr. Davis' voice came on correctly, is that, and this kind of tied in with 52, is that we're trying to solve problems which we don't understand. And so, we have as many programs as we want. Let's use an example. I'll just take a subset of our society, which is the 100,000 students we have just in high school age. If you take them and break them into demographics of 50, say you divide them into 12, probably have about 9,300 people in each grade. Divide them into the subset of male and female, you'll have 4,300 women, females, and 4,000 males. So if you take the 4,000 males and give each group 220, you'd end up with, 200 groups that trying to solve the problem. And so essentially at the same time, if you go back 12 years, the 6 years before you get that, you now have the same 9,000 or 10,000 people coming to fill that gap, and we have not addressed the issues that they have. And so essentially what we've done is created an elaborate scheme of fixing our problems of buying buckets. And so and this is where I think Rasta Chris was coming in, is saying that we have women programs. But the problem we have is not women. What we have is broken families. And you can fix the women or adults as you go forward. But then now you create a situation where you have an omission of males. And no matter how you may think of it, women cannot raise men in the proper context of what men need to be. And this is an argument I made. You could use that for 20 years ago, where we used to say, oh, we got 50-something% of women raising families. Now we actually almost brag that we have 70-something% of single women raising families. That is going backwards.
I don't think anybody's bragging about that.
I
don't think anybody's bragging about that.
No, I maybe say it boldly as if they're proclamation. But I'm saying is that it tells us that we're not fixing the problems, and because we have not fixed family, and because women raising men, and we keep patching them when they get into high school, or we say we want to bend trees instead of when they're young. And so until we can actually look holistically of programs that deals with most males and females or families as a whole within our country. And I think Chris Davis can speak about this concerning the whole concept that we came from a culture of families raising children and communities. And so it's a program that my brother and I was involved with from the 80s that became solidified during the 90s, called systematic training for effective parenting, which creates a variation of all of these different things. Because when you understand what parenting is, it's about shaping the future. It's about shaping a child's personality. It's a dynamic process. You grow, develop, you guide them, education, health, physical, emotional, social, cognitive development. All of that has to be taken in. And Dwight, I'm not going to mention it on air, but you know my involvement with social services from the time I came home. So I am intimately involved with what has been attempted and what is tried and what is not and what has not worked. But I think we must stop buying buckets and look at the whole problem. And as 52 say, the data is there. Chris, myself, and others, we are aware of things that goes beyond just this wholesome patching and say, what can we do in the small demographic of 400,000 people to develop programs that mitigate the new people being pushed into this problem, as well as begin to solve the other aspect of what exists, not thinking that a singular program that's going to deal with 30 years, each one having its own influence, each one having its own impact. And so other than that, we can have programs,
Right.
and we'll have people entering, and 20 years, we'll be right back in the cycle.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
All right, we've got to take a break. We'll be back with more. This is Morning Blend Business on Guardian Radio 96.9.
These people will hate you because you open one little account. This ain't Bamba boy, I no count. This ain't over just for your mouth. Never gets me slipping. Take on life like a whipping. Right back into the licking. Finger licking my chicken. I did it on my own.
At CFAL, we understand that a secure future is the greatest gift you can give your employees. That's why our tailor-made group pension solutions are designed to fit the needs of both large and small companies. With CFAL, you can provide the retirement you and your employees deserve, ensuring peace of mind and financial stability for years to come. Join the many businesses that have already entrusted CFAL to create the right pension plan for their employees, and let us help you build a brighter future for your team. Visit us at cfal.com to get started on building wealth so you can live well. CFAL, growing wealth for future generations.
In these very difficult times when crime is on the increase, you don't need to waste money on imitation security. Get the best at Wemco Security, the company you keep. Don't delay. Call today or visit their office at 32 Collins Avenue across from Columbus Primary School.
Throughout history, from bartering in ancient markets to the invention of paper currency, convenience has been at the heart of the way we pay. As time marched on, so have we, from barter to cash and cash to digital. Whether you pay with an online bank transfer, digital wallet, or contactless card, with digital payments, options abound. The world never stops evolving, and neither should you. Choose freedom, choose flexibility, choose convenience. The future of pay is digital. Visit us online at livedigitalbahamas.com and on social media.
You work hard for your money, so let your money work hard for you. With as little as $1,000 to start, you can watch your money grow by investing in CFAL's Bahamian dollar and US dollar mutual funds, each tailored to match your unique investment profile. Our expert advisors are dedicated to crafting personalized investment strategies to help you achieve your financial goals. Don't miss out on the chance to earn higher returns on your hard-earned money. Join the thousands of investors who trust CFAL and start your journey toward financial freedom today. Visit us at cfal.com to learn more about our saving and investment options. And let us help you build wealth so you can live well. CFAL, growing wealth for future generations.
Abaco, get ready for the summer's official rum and beer linko. Royalty Sounds present Found Fast. Found Fast. Saturday, July 5th, Morris Harbor, Abaco at the Royal Recreational Ground. Gates open 5 p.m., $20 entry. Ladies free before 8 p.m. with Nassau and Abaco's hottest DJ. Don't miss the beer drinkers versus rum drinkers competition.
Pulling for the best side, icicle liquor.
Damn rum for me. Found Fast, July 5th, Abaco. Sponsored by Collect, the Beer of the Bahamas. Drink responsibly.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, streaming on GuardianTalkRadio.com and the Guardian Radio app, Nassau, Bahamas.
It's time for your morning business report brought to you by CFAL. We told you about this yesterday. While the idea of diversifying the country's dollar peg might be worth a cursory look, it's not likely that the Bahamas will consider using anything other than the U.S. dollar to trade within the next 5 or 6 generations. That's according to Chairman of the Clearing Banks Association, Gowan Poe. speaking to Guardian Business. His comments in response to Prime Minister Philip Davis saying that they are exploring the idea of the Bahamas tying its dollar to a basket of currencies instead of solely to the U.S. dollar in order to facilitate easier trading with countries outside the U.S. Davis added that CARICOM and African nations should consider a digital currency that they can all participate in order to facilitate easier trade. Well, Bo says that while it's admirable to want to leverage different currencies as the Bahamas grows its list of trading partners, he says that the U.S. dollar would have to be spent to purchase other traded currencies to create the mixed basket of pegged currencies, adding that the volatility of the other currencies might also be a factor that makes the visibility of creating such a mixed basket disadvantageous. You can read more on his comments in today's Guardian Business section. Amid the rise in boating fees and the controversy surrounding them, a bone fishing tournament in Grand Bahama, as well as tournaments in Andros and other family islands, are all booked out, revealing. Well, so says the president of the Bahamas Fly Fishing Industry Association, Prescott Smith. Smith says that there are a lot of guides heading to Grand Bahama for the tournament for 3 days, and that it's booked out. Smith is also the president of the Bahamas Sports Fishing Conservation Association. He says that during the July 4th U.S. Independence Day holiday, quite a few guides were on the flats. There was concern, though, that the new boating fees would have deterred boaters for the upcoming summer fishing tournament season, including recreational boaters for the July 4th Independence holiday. The new Customs Management Amendment Regulation 2025 will introduce fees on boats not exceeding 50 feet in length to $1,500. Boats exceeding 50 feet in length but not exceeding 100 feet in length to $2,500, and those exceeding 100 feet to $8,000. The amendment will also make provisions for a temporary cruising permit valid for 12 months and will increase the threshold for boats not exceeding 50 feet in length to $500 for a period not exceeding 12 months. More on the regulations in today's Guardian Business section. And Carib Botanicals, manufacturer of affordable cleaning products, born out of the COVID pandemic, when two friends were forced to close their non-essential vape shop and lounge, and were determined to join the fight against microbes. Well, the company's now gone from direct to consumer to its first store shelf through a partnership with Kelly's Home Center. The company's co-founder, Sidney Bethel, telling Guardian Business that after 5 years after starting the business, they have grown from purveyors of only gel and liquid sanitizer, disinfectant wipes and face masks, to Carib Suds antibacterial liquid hand soap, and more. More on them in today's Guardian Business section. Overseas, U.S. President Donald Trump set a 25% tax on goods imported from Japan and South Korea, as well as new tariff rates on a dozen other nations that would go into effect on August 1st. Trump provided notice by posting letters on Truth Social that were addressed to the leaders of the various countries. The letters warned them to not retaliate by increasing their own import taxes, or else the Trump administration would further increase tariffs. Trump writing to Japanese Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba and South Korean President Lee Jae-myung, quote, "If for any reason you decide to raise your tariffs, then whatever the number you choose to raise them by will be added onto the 25% that we charge." The letters were not the final word from Trump on tariffs, so much as another episode of the global economic drama in which he's placed himself at the center. His moves raising fears that economic growth would slow to a trickle, if not make the U.S. and other nations more vulnerable to a recession. Trump, though, is confident that the tariffs are necessary to bring back domestic manufacturing, tax cuts he signed into law last Friday. In your Market Watch, recapping trading on the BISX from Monday, market movers: Commonwealth Bank moving 1,003 shares, closing down 13 cents to 470. Colina Holdings moving 3,500, unchanged at $12.74. Fidelity Bank moving 250, unchanged at $17. Consolidated Water down 45 cents to $6.12. Emira Incorporated down 5 cents, closing at $11.13. The BISX All-Share Index closing at 3,024.23, down 0.63. That's your Market Watch. And that is your morning business report, brought to you by CFAL, growing wealth for future generations.
I don't need nobody.
Our final few minutes of Morning Blend Business on this Tuesday morning. Dwight Strachan along with DeQuesta Dean. Okay, so we got your text messages. Let's get through these. Got a call during the break reminding me of that's what we talk about all the time. The traffic violations. You talked about what you saw. People are doing things because they think they can get away with it. Mentioning Gladstone Road. People have been just irate about Gladstone Road for years.
Wow.
People are making a third lane, fourth lane, driving in the middle, driving on the grass, driving on the sidewalk, whatever it is, to get away from traffic, to get around traffic, and there are no consequences.
Right.
Nothing.
Right.
You just go and make these lanes and overtake, and nobody does anything, and it's shocking who you'll see doing it too. But again, hardly ever is there a police officer around, even though they all know what's going on there.
Right. Do some. These are low-hanging fruit, man. Come on. Let's do something.
Keep asking. Right? Do they think this is not important? They think this is a bad waste of their resources?
It's
but
crazy.
This is exactly how you create monsters.
But it also
begin to
speaks
think they
the
can do this.
mindset, though, Dwight, because these will be the same people who will travel to other countries and obey their rules. Let one of them try to make a third lane. Let one of them try turn where it'd say a no turn in another country. What happens?
No, you see, right. Well, yes, if they saw other people doing it and they got away with it, they would try it too. But because they know you can't do this.
And you can't pay off.
Right. You can't do this and it won't end well for you.
Correct.
That's why they won't try that over there.
And the texter talked about stress. By the time you reach the work, you already stressed out having to deal with these people who don't think the law applies to them. They create their own havoc on the road. You trying to hold on to your little Christianity while you driving, but this one coming at you from this way, that one coming at you from it's insanity.
Yeah. And like you mentioned earlier, these people, once they get a ticket, if they ever get a ticket, they will fight to the death to get that removed, to report the whatever. And sadly, often it works.
It's crazy, man. It's crazy.
We have created all of the monsters
we
talk about every morning.
We have.
Right? And then acting brand new. Like, why is this happening in our country?
Say acting brand new.
Let's get through these messages. This person says here, while the caller who spoke about public hangings may have been a little militant, there is some value in the bit that he said about the failures of the government. We would be remiss, however, if we did not acknowledge that the ultimate failure is ours because we continue to send the same political parties back to Parliament every 5 years. Like a merry-go-round. I'm not sure if the Prime Minister was aware of the messaging when he signed the MOU with the union before being elected. What would the details of an MOU... How are we getting into this, though? This is a bit of a... Anyway. What would the details of an MOU look like for disenfranchised Bahamians, for Bahamians impacted by crime, etc., until we truly comprehend that we hire our governments and that they work for us, we will continue to accept nothingness. The crackhead games must end. And as a nation, we are the ones that need mental rehabilitation. Well, that part,
that part.
Definitely truth to that. This person says here, Happy Independence Day. Men, please connect to your children forever. Women, too, please. Young and old, please get deep sleep 6 days weekly. Only 6? The future is female, what? Real, yet let's smile and unite man and woman. What's going on here? This is an AI text. What's happening? We need a backyard garden and home-cooked meal 6 days weekly. No stereotyping. As man and woman should be in every home, black or white. The phone system is terrible by local providers. What's going on here? What's happening?
Everyone's just sharing.
Happening?
They're sharing.
This is the same texture. This was just all these random things pushed together. Okay. All right. Well, anyway, this texter says here, many of our politicians claim politicians are lawyers and their jobs and butter are to defend criminals. So why would they want them to receive the time they really deserve? The criminals already know this. Don't hold your breath because not much has changed in the Bahamas. Not much better for many. Men need to stop fading from their children's lives when the relationship breaks up. While there are men who continue to be involved in their children's upbringing, too many men, even when they had been in a nuclear family with the mother, seem to transfer the bad feelings they have for the mother to the child. I'm sure there's a lot of that as well. There's a lot on both sides, right? The woman keeping the child away and the men just evaporating But all of it is not good. This texter says here, talk is cheap, money by land. Complaining is not helpful. Don't complain. Go volunteer someplace. Okay. Yeah, not saying that there are no programs for men, that there are less of them than there are for women.
Okay.
Which is a fact. From international agencies, still more.
Okay.
So what?
Okay.
So what? I mean, because the women have traditionally been more challenged.
I mean, okay. Okay.
Okay.
So for the ones that are there for men, can y'all start showing up?
There are statistics in the UB Domestic Violence Research. Women's Crisis Center changed its name to Bahamas Crisis Center to include men. Okay. Many of us, we get, oh boy, this is a lot. Okay. Please note that we have spoken and met with our Prime Minister, also 3 ministers from the ministries that can be effective. I'm not sure what they want change. Who's we? We get the results we put in with the people we hire and put in place. Talk is cheap. We must put the right people in place to assist with the problems. Many of us and them may be too smart to address and confront our country's many issues. Oh, boy. I wanted to offer my perspective on the comments shared by 52. The teacher who was attacked is actually my niece. She was also the principal of the school. She told us she sensed early that something was wrong with the student. This is getting into something I don't know if we should talk about. And when she raised her concerns with the ministry, there was no meaningful response. Later, she discovered the child had been transferred from another school due to similar behavior complaints from other teachers. Determined, this is long. Okay, we're going to save this one for another day. It's getting down, something we don't need to get into at this moment. And the final text here, if all cars had dash cams, we would see a drastic drop in crimes. You mean like that something that the driver can't disable? Okay. And I think this is 52 texting us. My son acts differently when he sees me come into the house. He knows that I'm different from his mom. He listens and does what I tell him. He's only 2 and will be 3 soon. This shows that men are needed. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Well, sure. I mean, it depends on who the disciplinarian is in the home, right? I think some people have it the other way around.
Right.
The father will allow you to get rid of everything, and when mom comes home, you act right. But I get what you're saying. You need somebody there who is going to not tolerate nonsense.
Yes.
And it's the one parent who's trying not to tolerate nonsense, but also be the emotional caregiver. It's a challenging, delicate line, and that's why you need your 2 parents and your grandparents and your aunts and uncles. You need the whole village to help raise the kids. And unfortunately, our village is too busy partying, doing all manner of nonsense, sadly. DeQuesta Dean, thank you so much.
It was a joy to be here. Happy Independence, everyone. Enjoy your holiday on Thursday.
I'm going to try to have a little more positive discussion for Independence Eve tomorrow, so tune in for that. But everybody, thank you for listening. I'll be back tomorrow morning. Dwight Strachan, have a great day, everybody. Stay tuned for On the Clock with Aaron Green coming up next.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, streaming on GuardianTalkRadio.com and the Guardian Radio app, Nassau, Bahamas.